Welcome to the weekend live show.
508 is where I'm from.
We run down the biggest stories of the week with you every Saturday night. Let us know in the comments right now where you reppin'.
Apache Junction, Taunton, Worcester, Long Island, Manchard, South Florida, Webster, Malden, Framingham, Tucson, Billerica, Salem, Gloucester, Moosop, Connecticut, Charleston, South Carolina, Roslindale, Moosop, Connecticut, London, Hanson, Glendale, Arizona, Lynn, Mapleville, Quincy.
Food stands, leave your clothes, buddy, and then we're screwing up the
funny ass guy, man.
Have you ever heard of Turtleboy? Yeah? Are you a fan?
508 is where I'm from.
Hey, what's up?
508 is where I'm from.
How was that?
You a freaking idiot. Stop telling people that I'm mentally deranged and stupid.
Call me Aidan. He's not a doctor, but...
Get out of my store, please.
You're a fucking loser.
You are a loser.
You're not a journalist. You're nobody. You're not turtle hair. Don't make such fun of the criminal justice system.
NFL on the house, blog that.
Let's get this party started.
And I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And we will continue on our journey for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed.
Tick, tick, boom. Boys, go baby, we bringing our toys. Boys, chopper be singing, should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets.
Karen Reed has supporters who've shown up in large numbers.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this, so it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen this. An outpouring of support for someone accused of murdering a Boston police officer. Unbelievable situation. Never seen anything like it.
Tick, tick, boom.
You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me?
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go, 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 go time.
Tick, tick, boom.
Boom. What's up, people? How's everyone doing tonight? Good, good, excellent. Welcome to the live show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard. Glad you guys found it. For those of you watching, hold on. Oh, I see 420 people over on Facebook right now. It's good to see. What about over on the Twitter machine? We got on Twitter, we got 1,300. That's cool. How many Rumble Rats we have tonight? 3,100 and counting already, and we just started, man. People are excited. Imagine if we had YouTube, how many we'd ever know. But yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild, and it's only going to get wilder. It's too bad that on Tuesday, Jen McCabe goes again, obviously, like real Jen McCabe. Like what we got the other day, excuse me one sec. Like what we got on Friday was like fake Jen McCabe. It was, Adam Lally, Jen McCabe. It doesn't count. That doesn't count. We want Alan Jackson, Jen McCabe. That's the real. It's going to be dope. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Oh, I cannot wait. So anyway, guys, welcome to the show. If you're new here, my name is Aidan Kearney. How we finally got it right this week, Aidan Kearney. Whoa, and we got a $50. I was going to recommend not doing the Rumble donations. I already got one from 508 NE Patriots that sends $50 and says, does Higgins testify? What's a proffer? Yeah, I don't see a world in which Higgins doesn't testify. And he's kind of the whole wild card in this. Like, we have no idea what Higgins is going to do we? Higgins has signed a federal proffer, according to David Yannetti, in court. And I can't imagine he's making that up. It's actually a really big deal. A federal proffer. It means he signed an agreement for immunity, or, you know, reduced whatever in exchange for something the government wants. And the government, but at the same time, I just can't imagine that he's already said, like, oh yeah, I witnessed a murder. Like, if I, you know, because that doesn't make any sense. Because then wouldn't they arrest the people that murdered John O'Keefe? Like, if he had told, if Higgins had spilled the beans and said John O'Keefe got murdered inside 34 Fairview Road, I witnessed it, I helped move the body. Yeah, like, you know, Brian Albert and Colin Albert did it, something like that. That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't arrests have been made? Like, I just feel like arrests would have been made if that happened. So, and then there was this whole, his attorney was like, Brian's not the subject of an investigation. Of course, that could be true, even if he had confessed. But whatever. I don't know. There's just a lot of what ifs. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But anyway, if you're new here, my name is Aidan Kearney. I'm the regular guest on 𝗺𝗵𝗃 every day at 4:33. They're not asking me to be on every more. They're just going to call me every day. I'm going to be on 𝗺𝗵𝗃 at 4:33 to sum up well, at least whenever the Karen Reed case is in session. There's no court Monday. I'm told it's because a juror had a thing, and they told them beforehand. I wondered about that. I'm like, what happens if one of the 17 jurors gets sick? Like, like really sick? What happens then? Do they not, like, how does that? You can't take a day off. None of them can take a day off. But anyway, my Facebook name is Clarence Woods Emerson. You can follow me on there. I got, like, I think 45,000 followers on there. My, you know, old school turtle riders call me Uncle Turtleboy. I prefer doctor, because if Jill Biden's a doctor, then so am I. Some people have called me daddy in the past. You can call me that if you'd like. Definitely not making you call it. And please don't send me to jail if you do. But you can call me whatever you want to call me. Just be here every Tuesday and Saturday night at 9 p.m. sharp for the hottest takes on the Karen Reed case and everything else. Eventually the story will end. And hopefully most of you people stick around, because they did a lot of stories prior to Karen Reed. And I'm going to do more stories after Karen Reed. And so I hope you like it here. So remember to give us a big thumbs up, leave a comment afterwards, etc. If you guys like the program and you'd like to have your comment read out loud tonight, because I can't keep up with all the comments, obviously. There's like a lot of people watching. There's 5,000 people watching on Rumble right now. 5,000. And we haven't even really started. Wild. And over on Facebook, we got like 625. And then Twitter, there's 2,600 of you people. Like, it's a fucking huge audience. It's like almost 10,000 people here. And so I can't read every comment. So if you want your comment read out loud to the class, you got to do the turtle chat option, right? That guarantees it gets read. So if you click it, have we pinned it to the top? Have we pinned the turtle chat? Oh, it is pinned to the top. Do we have it pinned to Facebook? Let me pin it on Facebook too. All right, I'm going to pin it on Facebook. Turtle chat. Okay, boom. Going to pin that puppy. Close that. Pin. All right, cool. It's pinned over there. You can click on the link for Turtle Chat. It's pinned to the top of the chat on Rumble and on Facebook. It's also pinned to the top of my Twitter account. You can donate whatever amount of money you want. When you do that, you get to write a message, and I will get it in my inbox, and I'll read your message out loud to the class. Let's see if we have any yet. Any Turtle Chats here? No, none. That's okay. I still love you guys. But, however, I do have a Cash App, which you can also do. You can cash at me at $UncleTurtleboy. And so far on the Cash App, we have here, Drea sends $20 and says, I can't see. Can I use your cell phone flashlight? I know. How about Matt McCabe doing that? That was wild. That was wild. Definitely. So thank you, Dre. And who else do we have? Any other ones? I think this one came earlier. This is from Shauna. Says, it's me, Mandela Wind. You did real good. Well, thank you, Mandela Wind. I appreciate that. And then Sue O'Connell is rude. I got one yesterday at 209 from Carrie Brecken. She was rude. That was really rude. I was nice to Sue O'Connell too. It was really rude of her to write that. It's just like, they can't just be nice to you. They can't just say nice things. They say Sue O'Connell, the NBC journalist, you know, she said she's been covering the Reed case, and she said that I'm a real journalist, right? Because I am, and she got a lot of shit for that. And then she kind of had to throw in a thing like, yeah, well, I can say shitty things about him too. He's like, Aaron Hernandez was a football player. Like, okay. And she's like, well, you get what I'm saying. I go, I don't, because Aaron Hernandez isn't a football player. Like he went to jail. I'm still a journalist. Like you can be controversial. I'm more like Aaron Rodgers. I win championships sometimes, a little bit controversial, right? But still kicking it at 40 plus, still doing my thing. So anyway, let's just get right into it. So what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about three people that are on the cover. Matt McCabe, Jen McCabe, and then we need to revisit Colin. Bang, bang. Because Colin had that's the best day of court so far, has been Colin Albert versus Alan Jackson. I laugh every time now I think of Alan Jackson saying, I will fuck you up. No. What is it? What'd you say in that? I said I will F you up. No, you didn't. You said I will fuck you up. I will fuck you up. Oh, I just want to play that. I got to get a clip of Alan Jackson say, I will fuck you up in court. Anyway, I don't know why I think that's so funny. It's just hilarious because he's so serious. He's such a serious attorney. And he brings in there, it's just like, whoa, easy. That was wild. But gotta call. Yeah, I'm drinking the Chris Albert drink tonight too. Sorry. Patricia sends 15 and says, anyone up for a game of grab ass? You'll have to ask Brian Higgins and Brian Albert there. They're big into that. Fatty McAlbert sends $10 and says, Jackson made me think of Goodfellas. Funny like a question. Funny like a clown. I'm like, funny like a clown. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Fatty McAlbert. Okay. I'm not. Oh, we do have a turtle chat here. We got a $50 one from Seize the Gray. Says, I just won the Preakness Stakes. Glamasuse is enjoying champagne. Excuse her typos. Okay, thank you. Congrats. Oh, is the Preakness today? I didn't even know. I'm too focused on my other horse, Jen McCabe. They need to name a horse after Jen McCabe. I was thinking about that. And that horse needs to win the Kentucky Derby. I can die happy if that ever happens. But anyway, let's just jump right into it. Let's pull up the day in question. Okay. Now, all right, so we're going to jump around. We obviously can't listen to everything. We're going to try to get to some highlights here. And excuse me, I don't have any timestamps here, so I'm going to skip around throughout this testimony to the good.
I could hear her saying, I'm on the phone with Karen. She can't find John.
And from the course of
that
conversation continued.
I'm skipping everything loud.
You never said, correct?
Objection.
You can answer that. Where are you?
Towards the cross the street.
Any damage?
Okay. And I told Michael, am I sorry, an SUV?
Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor, the Albert's home. Asses, is that it?
No, happy for Kaylee.
Of course. And he was doing right by his sister's daughter.
Correct.
Oh, if there was any other officers.
All right.
They got there around 11, correct?
Give or take, yep.
On that day, you were asked by Mr. Lally, quote, did either of them strike that? I'm going to go back to the previous fighting stance to each other.
Yeah, make it faster.
I recall them grabbing each other. I don't recall them squaring up like they were fighting each other. No, they were playing a little grab ass with each other. I did see them grab each other. I don't recall a physical, hey, let's go duke it out. I do not recall that.
Okay, so are you saying, taking you literally, that they grabbed each other's asses? Is that it?
No, I'm saying grab ass. It's a figure of speech.
Okay, but what they didn't grab each other. They were in a fighting stance, weren't they? Didn't they crouch down low with each other?
I'm telling you, I don't recall seeing them crouching in a fighting stance. I recall them.
Hey, real quick, I'm told that we crashed on Facebook. It's still going on Twitter, right? The stream is still going on Twitter. Yeah, I see 4,200 people on Twitter and none on Facebook. So I don't know why that's happening, but I'm going to go ahead and share this link to this on the Turtleboy Facebook page, which I don't think I can even do. If one of the mods that runs the Facebook page wants to post a link to the Rumble, just so people get over there. So it'll be fine that way.
I recall someone grabbing somebody. I don't remember who grabbed who. I just recall like a bear hug or something. I thought I recall them doing a bear hug.
Be right back.
So you recall them, one of them getting behind the other one and kind of restraining them or grabbing them?
I think there was a bear hug, yeah. That's what's in my memory. I don't.
And you would agree with me that after closing time, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins were two of the people who went back to 34 Fairview Road, the Albert home, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But before everyone left, before you left, it was announced around the table that everyone was welcome back at Brian Albert and Nicole Albert's house, correct?
Yes.
Karen Reed and John O'Keefe were both there when that invitation was announced, correct?
So pardon me, we're gonna.
And you would agree that it was expected that Karen Reed and John O'Keefe would.
Memory is not exhausted.
Okay, so if your memory is not exhausted, do you deny telling Michael Proctor that you observed a big dark SUV parked to the right of the house?
Objection.
Can you answer that?
I don't know. Second question. Right. I told him I saw an SUV and parked in front of the house. Then I saw an SUV move further up the road, which looking out of the house would be to the right of the house. So that would be when I saw the SUV to the right of the house, would be the second time I saw the SUV. I've always stated the SUV was in front of the house if looking out the front door.
Okay, so when you talked, so you deny telling Michael Proctor that when you first saw the SUV, by the way, sir, is this funny? I'm sorry.
This is not funny, sir. Not at all. It's been 2 years of misery.
Yeah. Okay. You're smiling now. That's why I asked.
You keep repeating the same question.
Well, I'm trying to get an answer that you won't give me, sir. When you talked to Michael Proctor on January 29th of 2022, when you first observed the big dark SUV, you said to him it was parked to the right of the house.
Objection.
This is the last time on that question. Is that right?
That is not right. The SUV, the first time was in front of the house, in front of coming out the front door. The second time was it was to the right of the house.
We have to move on.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So,
yeah. So this went on for much longer than it needed to. This guy just can't get his story straight about, and I don't understand why they're even saying all this shit. Why is Matt McCabe even offering up? How did this become part of their stupid plan to even talk about what's going on outside the house? Wouldn't it be easier for Matt McCabe to say, I just didn't look outside, I didn't see shit? The more details you offer up, the more the defense gets to dissect them and prove that they're lying. Like, what if I were Matt McCabe, I would, like Brian Albert just said he never looked. That's what he says. I don't fucking know. I was in the house. We didn't hear shit. Didn't see shit. John never came in. I don't know what happened. And he wouldn't answer anything. He was so evasive. He just came across as a douche. Like that time when I confronted him. And again, it's different. If you guys haven't seen the time that I hold on. The time that I confronted Chubbs McCabe at a lacrosse game, it really says a lot about him. I want to play that one more time if you haven't seen this yet. So what date was this? This was almost 11 months ago. This was June 5th, 2023. Let me play this so we get a taste of what Matt McCabe is really like. Right? And so I go to this game, and this is a little controversial, but whatever. That's where they were at. So I went to I knew where they would be there, right? So his kids playing lacrosse, they're playing Bill Recca. They get murdered. So it's like 8-1. So who cares, right? It's not even a close game. And it's their last game, so they're never going to be out in public like this again. And so it's my only chance to get the exclusive interview as an award-winning journalist. I want to interview them. And earlier, this happened. This Jen McCabe, just a couple of days earlier, had gone to court and asked them to get an order on me, asked the judge to get an order on me which she said, no, he has a First Amendment right to do this stuff. And she asked the judge, well, is there anything you can do? Is there any way you can do something so he can't blog about me? And the judge was like, no, it's not how any of this works, dear. So feeling emboldened, I'm like, the First Amendment wins. I go to their game, and Matt's the first one there. Just watch Matt's mannerisms when I first come up to this guy.
Hey, Matt, how you doing, pal?
Hey, tough guy, how you been? Just right away. Hey, tough guy, how you been? Hey, tough guy. Who says that? Hey, tough guy. How you been? Does he seem the least bit intimidated? No, he's called me a tough guy. Hey, tough guy, how you been? Good, man. How you doing? Good.
Good. How are you doing? How you doing? Hey, Jen, how you doing? Fancy seeing you here. How are you?
Does she seem the least bit upset? I go, fancy seeing you here. She goes, oh, I know. Amazing. She's got her fugitive unit hat on, right? The daughter, the getaway driver, Alibi McCabe is right there. I did not realize at the time that she was much more involved in this than originally believed.
All right.
So how did court go the other day?
Went great.
Sorry, do you have a child on the team?
Do you?
I do, so I'm trying to watch.
No, I'm at a public event, so I can do whatever I want. So anyway, so Jen, I have a question. Did you think that you could outsmart Karen Reed?
Watch this.
Did you? Do you think that's funny? Do you think that's funny? How long did I and cold? What is this gentleman doing?
So this is when he gets a little physical with me. This is when he's mad. He can't control the situation. Chubb's angry. Chubb's McCabe angry. Me push you now. He didn't know what to do. I'm asking legitimate questions. He really wants me to go away. He's mad about it. Chubb's McCabe mad. So Chubb's McCabe puts hands on me. I don't put hands on anyone. He puts hands on me.
Look at that, the rage face. Hey, Jen, are you worried about what's going to happen to your family when you go to jail?
Don't touch me.
Why are you shaking,
Touch
dude?
me again.
Why are you shaking?
Again. Touch me again.
So, Jen, are you worried about what's going to happen when your kids go to jail?
Touch me again.
When you go to jail, I apologize. To your children. Are you worried at all about that?
Huh?
Huh? What's going on here?
Oh, you're so fast.
Oh, what are we doing?
I was sure you were.
Jen, did you think that you could outsmart Karen Reed? Yes or no? Did you? Why did you Google how long to die in cold, Jen? Why did you Google how long to die in cold, Jen? Why did you Google how long to die in cold, Jen?
Beat it.
Do you have any answer for that?
Is that the perfect that was just?
Do you have any answer for that? Miss McCabe, do you have any answer for that? Why should I leave, sir? I just have some questions. I just want to know why she Googled how long to die in cold. I just wanted to know why she Googled how long to die in cold. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I'm being assaulted by an umbrella man. What is going on here? What is happening right now?
I got beat up by an umbrella.
What is happening, my friend? What is happening?
Richie's just like trying to do his job. They think they kick Richie out,
what?
but not me.
Why do we have to put? We could have our phone out in public. We're just trying to watch a lacrosse game, sir.
This is a school-sponsored event.
Yes, it is. How do you feel about murder of police officers? How do you feel about murder of police officers? Okay, well, she murdered a police officer.
No, that is so untrue.
Oh, it's not. Then why did
See right there? No, that is not. That's so untrue. Well, now we're going to debate. Now we're going to have a conversation about this. Like now you're offering up a position that's contrary to the facts. So now we're going to talk. Like you could just be like, dude, can you do this like another time or whatever? Like, but now you're saying she didn't do it. So now it's like, now we got to talk. Now I have some questions, you know, and poor Richie's been kicked out. They think he's Turtleboy. They kicked him out.
Did she Google how long to die in cold?
She did it. It's already been proven wrong.
Oh, really? How has it
wrong.
been proven wrong? How long? How has it been? I didn't.
So it's been proven wrong that she didn't do it. We're going to see about that, Matt, on Tuesday. We're going to see you next Tuesday. We're going to see if it's been proven wrong. Because, spoiler alert, it hasn't. It's actually been proven correct many times. It's undeniable that it happened.
I didn't hear anything. How did you? So how is it proven wrong, Matt? How is it proven wrong, sir? How? So are you saying that forensic expert Richard Green is wrong? Are you saying that forensic expert Richard Green is wrong? Is that what you're saying right now, sir? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I'm just curious.
Then this guy comes over. He thinks Richie is the turtle boy. They block Richie.
Oh boy, here we go. I'm about 5'8" ⅕. How much do you weigh?
Oh, I'm thin.
You're very thin.
yeah.
Yeah, you look sharp the other day in court. You look
I look
great.
great.
You look great. No, but seriously,
So where did you
how long? Why did you?
How long ago?
How can I?
Here watching a game for somebody.
Then this
Yeah, I'm
guy
watching the
comes
game.
over.
You're watching.
But I'm hanging out with my friends. Please don't touch me, sir. Please don't touch me. So I'm here watching the game.
Actually, I'm a staff here.
Okay.
You need to step away because I don't think you're
Step
watching
away from what?
from the stands, and you can probably take off on.
Well, this.
And I later found out this guy is not staff. He works for Canton. He is not staff at all. Does not work for 𝗿𝗏. He works for Canton. So he's lying, just to be clear.
This is a public event, right?
It is.
And I paid to come in.
And actually, you shouldn't be harassing people in this.
I'm not harassing. I'm here to watch. I'm here to watch a lacrosse
Who are
game.
you watching, sir?
I just like to watch lacrosse in general.
𝗵𝗏
against Canton. I mean, why do you guys? I mean, I just want to watch the game. What's wrong with the game? What's wrong with me watching the
You
game?
don't even know what the game is?
It's Canton against. I believe it's called lacrosse, right?
Coming.
What? Why should I leave? It's a public. Well, it's a public event. What's wrong? What am I doing wrong?
You're bothering people.
I'm not. I'm just standing here trying to watch a game.
You're not a fan.
Outside the fence.
Outside
you
the
can
fence.
do it outside
There's
the
plenty
I
of
don't have to be a fan.
Okay, so are you like? What law am I breaking right now?
This is our facility. We're asking you to leave.
Okay,
We have the
what's
right to
the
ask you to
problem?
leave.
I'm just
And I'm
okay. So I'm
saying
watching
no.
a game. What rule have I broken?
You're filming young girls.
I'm
Oh.
filming young
Oh,
girls.
see, that's the bullshit. When they're like, they love to do that. Oh, you're a pedophile. You're filming young girls because they have nothing. Because I'm not breaking any laws. You're filming young. I'm not. I didn't even point the fucking camera at the field. I don't even give a shit about this game. I don't really care. I say I care, but I'm not. I don't really care about the game at all. I don't know the names of anyone on the field. I don't care. I'm happy 𝗵𝗏 won. Good for them. I don't really care.
It's a lacrosse game. A lot of people are filming girls. It's a lacrosse game.
What is your problem? Why
Are you saying you can't film lacrosse? Is that what you're
What are you
saying?
filming for?
What's up? Because it's a free country. I'll film whatever I want. Because it's a free country.
But what are you filming for?
Because I want to film. It's a free country. What am I not allowed to film?
Did I say that? What is your?
Because I'm doing what I want to be free because I'm a free American living in a free country.
True.
So then what's the problem?
You're bothering people.
Who am I bothering?
These gentlemen.
Well, they
right here.
killed a cop. They killed a police officer, John
Sir,
O'Keefe.
we're done with
She Googled how long to
This is
die
where
in
it gets
cold
funny.
while John O'Keefe
she's-
was dying outside of a house. These are
Why
cop
you're
killers.
watching
These
it.
are cop killers. You know they're cop killers, right? These are cop killers. These are cop killers.
Like I don't watch it.
Well, I'm just trying to watch a game. First of all,
So
I'm
this was incredibly awkward for some people. Not for me. I felt fine. But just this whole event. Meanwhile, Jen's sitting right there. I just want to ask her why she Googled that, you know? I just want to ask her why she Googled that. And again, the Rumble rants. If you guys, I appreciate the Rumble rants, and I'll read them as much as I can, but I'm not going to keep checking. Like, donate on the Turtle chat is much easier because I don't like Rumble. Like, I appreciate it. Mandy KS sends $50 and says the dog bit John, and that's what started it all. Hence the immediacy of the fight. He went in another door and startled the dog. Yells at Brian, throws the dog. Okay. You pay $50, you can say whatever the fuck you want. That's an interesting theory. I will say this to people who DM me. If you message me your theory about what happened, which is like 90% of my inbox messages every day is like, here's what I think happened. I don't read it. I don't read it. I simply, the second you are like, here's what I think happened, I go, next. I don't read it. So like you're wasting your time telling me your theories. I don't care. I don't care at all. I'm not here for that. But I appreciate the Dono. I appreciate the Rumble rant, and that's an interesting theory. $20 from Mom's huge Fedinex. Okay, why didn't you Betty just ask him if Proctor wrote his report incorrectly and he is telling the truth on the stand? I don't know. You'd have to ask David. Robbie sends $20 and says Hoss long before Meatloaf McCabe starts that diet he's been talking about so much. I know. Well, it's not a diet. They said it, in fairness, they said it was a competition. He didn't say he won. He didn't, because he's eating cheese late night. That's what Jen McCabe said. He's trying to win the contest, so he's eating cheese. That doesn't make much sense, does it? Okay, let me play the rest of this, and then we'll get back to the test. I'm playing this to show you what Matt McCabe's really like.
Room for Bill Rick. If that does that count? Does that help?
Go over there on the Ricker side. This is the Canton side. That's our home side.
Actually, just leave. See the fence out the.
Okay.
Is there a policeman on duty?
Okay.
No, there's not. But there's
I know one drove
by a minute ago.
Well, last game of the year, I'm guessing this is a playoff game, right? So, just no answer for how long to die in cold? No answer? It wasn't answered in court, though. Could you answer it for me? Because I'm not as smart as you.
Listen.
Yeah.
It sounds like an interview, not a filming. So why don't you?
You're not here
An
to
interview,
watch
not a film.
You're not here to
Well, I'd like to watch the
But
game,
you're
but
not
it's kind of
watching
a
the game.
it's kind of a blowout, though.
You're not
No,
watching
I mean
the
it's no offense. It's just not that close. But okay, we'll give it a wrap. But I just thought I'd stop by, and have a great night. We'll see you soon, Jen. How long to die in cold? Maybe you can answer that question for me. We'll find out later. We'll find out later. Bye.
They're not even mad.
So she didn't want to answer. She didn't want to answer. I just want to find out how long to die in cold and why someone would Google that at 2:27 in the morning when a cop is dying on the front yard of 34 Fairview Road. And why 2 cop killers are up there. Cop killers. That's what they are. They're cop killers.
So this is what
cop killers don't like being asked about it.
So this is what makes them all mad, as I called them cop ghosts, but they are. That's quite literally what they are, and their act isn't fooling anyone. So that's the kind of abrasive person that Matt McCabe is, and we saw it on the stand yesterday, dude. This guy did not hold up well to the bright lights. He got mad. His personality, he came like a douche, like he did with me. You know, like fuck you, Yannetti. Like who the fuck are you? Ask me this shit. So let's play some more.
You did not say that, but you did say that you were making those observations from the front door, correct?
As I stated yesterday, I recall.
That's a yes or no question. I'm sorry.
Objection, Your Honor.
Can you answer it yes or no?
I can't. I said yesterday it's either I looked out the window and I looked out the front door. I don't remember which order.
Well, you told Michael Proctor that the first time you looked out, it was out the front door. Did you not?
I don't recall. Okay, I told Michael Proctor on April.
You don't recall. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Page 2 of Proctor's report, Counsel.
So next time, just show it to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Or refresh your memory.
I'm not saying I don't remember what I told Michael Proctor. I'm stating what I remember.
Hold on a second. You just told this jury that you don't remember what you told Michael Proctor. Those were your words.
Yes, at the point I'm reading, I don't remember the exact wording, but I know what I told Michael Proctor.
All right. And you told Michael Proctor that you observed the big dark SUV parked to the right of the house. Did you not?
At some point in the conversation, yes, I told Michael Proctor that a big dark SUV moved to the right of the house.
Moved to the right of the house? Is that what you just said?
All right, let me rephrase. At some point, there was a big dark SUV parked in front of the right of the house.
He gets so
I
mad.
physically didn't see it move, so I need to rephrase. I can't say move.
But what I'm concentrating on.
Look at him. Look at his manner.
Memory
Look at his see it. This. Look at his mannerisms, though. That's what he did with me too. He says, that's his tell when he's pissed off when he starts going. He's getting pissed, like he wants to punch David Yannetti right now. Enough with this fucking thing. Again, I don't know why he didn't just say I didn't look out the window. I didn't see shit. Then there would be no questions. But now the more they talk, so he sees this dark SUV. How did it get around the Jeep that he saw that no one else saw? How did it get around that?
Today, or what you testified to the jury today. I'm concentrating on what you told Michael Proctor that very day on January 29th, 2022. Okay? And you initially told him that it was parked to the right of the house, the big dark SUV, and that you made those observations from the front door. And then you stated you looked out the front window and observed the same big dark SUV had moved to the other side of the property.
So
correct?
The objection sustained. You have to break that down. And I thought
Out of the house.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. To the right, looking at the house would be towards the
We're going to skip
to the right.
This goes on for way too long. So we're going to skip to some more interesting stuff.
Jury, whether you recognize what that depicts.
Yes, this is a map showing Cedar Crest Road intersecting with.
To the right as you look at Exhibit 88, correct?
I don't know if she pulled in the driveway and turned. I don't know if she went to Cedar Crest and turned. I don't know if she did a 3-point turn and turn. I have no idea.
All right, but there's one last question on this 3-point turn. You offered the V-shaped tire tracks as an explanation for what could have happened, correct?
Objection.
Oh, I don't know.
I had stated there was a V-shaped tire tracks. I didn't say it was a 3-point turn.
So Matt McCabe is the only person who told police that he saw V-shaped tire tracks in the snow. What's the implication with that? Obviously to say, again, Matt McCabe offered way too much information. Like, if you're going to do a conspiracy like this, just do what Brian Albert did. Nobody saw nothing. But these people love to talk, and they think they could talk their way out of anything. So they're like, well, we're going to do death by 3-point turn, right? So I'll just say there was V-shaped tire tracks in the snow because that sounds consistent with the 3-point turn, except when the 3-point turn theory falls apart because the 3-point turn doesn't work. If Karen Reed was facing Chapman Street, that would have been the way she went home. That's the fastest way home. She wouldn't do a 3-point turn. She would just keep going. So that would only make sense if she just, gunned it in reverse. The 3-point turn thing, that would not work. So he offers up this information that he really, and when you say there's V-shaped tire tracks in the snow, now you offer now it's like, okay, but so you could see that, but you couldn't see the dead body on the front lawn. See what I'm saying? Like, these guys talk too much. Him and Jen talk way too much. Nicole and Brian Albert didn't see shit. That's Brian Higgins. He didn't see shit. That's what they all should have said, is I didn't see anything. But Jim and Jen think they can talk their way out of anything. They think they're real. And Jen's a million times worse. Her testimony, some of the pundits I've seen been like, oh, she was credible. They keep saying she was credible. The fuck? Okay. If you think she was credible, you're easily duped. And maybe that's why we've gotten as far as we've gotten, is that people find Jennifer McCabe credible because she's an excellent liar until you get to know her. We all know that she's fucking lying. We all know that she's evil incarnate. But she seems like, because I'm reading comments on like Law and Crime and stuff like that, places where aren't overwhelmed with people who have an opinion on this case. And they're just like, I find her credible. There's a lot of that. Even in the lawyer comments, I saw some of that. Most people believe that Karen Reed's innocent, but she's a pathological liar, and she tells it with a straight face. And but that's going to change on Tuesday. That's all going to change on Tuesday.
All right. Well, you'd agree with me in any case that if John and Karen entered from CEDARCrest and you saw them where you saw them,
this is all about the 3-point turn.
So you're saying if she didn't come from Chapman, she came from the other side, CEDARCrest, there would be no need for a 3-point turn or any type of turn because she was already facing that way.
That's right. If she came from CEDARCrest, she's already in the very direction that you saw the black SUV when you looked out, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, your testimony during this trial is that you were looking straight out from the house to the street. And, again, I understand your qualification, put it in 3 feet this way or 3 feet that way. But your memory is that the car was essentially right in front of you, give or take, the first time you saw it.
My memory is the car was right in front of the front door.
Yes. Okay. Again, and see if I can get a yes or no answer. If you were able to clearly see the V-shaped tire tracks,
here we go.
You were certainly able to clearly see the Albert's front lawn.
Hold on, I'm going to rewind this real quick.
If I looked at it
straight over the front lawn, correct?
Door, or if I was peeking out through the window, but my sight would have it lined up.
This is the ultimate question: is how did you see V-shaped tire tracks, but you didn't see the body? How did you see? Like, how does that make any sense, sir? Again, this is Fairview Road in back of me. Okay, so right over, I don't know, around here. I guess in this window right here. Okay, this one. Matt was standing in this window because that's what Matt does at parties. He stands in windows and just looks outside. And he sees Karen Reed's car like right here, okay? At one point, and then he sees it move up. He didn't see it move up, but he saw it. Next time he looked out, it was like over here, okay? And then he could see like V-shaped tire tracks in the snow somehow, but he couldn't see the body, the big black blob, a 6-foot black blob, as Julie Nagel described it. So how does that make any sense? How do you, and this is how he attempts to answer that.
In front of the front door. So if I looked out from the front door, then it would have been, yes, straight in front of me.
And you would agree with me that when you were looking at the vehicle from wherever you were looking at it, you were looking straight over the front lawn, correct?
I would have been looking over the lawn, correct. Again, I was focused on the vehicle.
Hold on, Mr. Nettie.
I said I was focused on the vehicle.
I didn't know that he was not done with this.
My fault.
We only can have one person speaking at a time. The court reporter can't be expected to have 2 different people at the same time. So please be cautious. The lawyer needs to be cautious.
I will try, Your Honor. Did you get your full answer out, sir?
I did.
You would agree with me that the V-shaped tire tracks were farther away from you than the front lawn?
Yes, they were on the road.
And if you were able to clearly see those V-shaped tire tracks, you certainly were able to clearly see the 𝗲𝗏's front lawn, correct?
Ooh.
As I mentioned, I was looking over the lawn, but
What?
I'm assuming the lawn was somehow in my visibility. I wasn't focusing on the lawn.
What? He was looking over the lawn? What on earth does that mean? So, because he has to have an explanation for how he can see the V-shaped tire tracks, but not the dead body on the lawn. His response, I shit you not, was I was looking over the lawn. I want to play that one more time.
On the road.
And if you were able to clearly see those V-shaped tire tracks, you certainly were able to clearly see the 𝗲𝗏's front lawn, correct?
As I mentioned, I was looking over the lawn, but I'm assuming the lawn was somehow in my visibility. I wasn't focusing on the lawn.
So he's looking over the lawn. What does that mean? What does that mean? How do you look over? So you just don't see stuff in your foreground? You can only see, like, your line of vision goes up and over the body? Is that right? Like, what does that mean, Matt? Why are you talking so much? Talk less. Like, talk less. And then he's doing the pouty face there. That's the face he made when I confront. That's the Matt McCabe mad face. Chubbs McCabe, no happy face. It's like,
Okay, I'm going to try that question again and see if I can get a yes or no answer. If you were able to clearly see the V-shaped tire tracks, you were certainly able to clearly see the 𝗲𝗏's front lawn, correct?
If I looked at it. It's a confusing question. As I said, I was focused on...
No, it's not a confusing question. If I looked at it, you cannot look at the road without looking at the lawn. So what does that mean? I sincerely hope the jury is just like, bro, the fuck are you talking about? How do you not see the lawn?
The road. I wasn't looking at the lawn.
But let me be clear. I'm not asking you if you looked at it. I asked if you were able to clearly see it.
I would be able to, yes.
And when you looked out at that black SUV, and saw the V-shaped tire tracks, you did not see a 6'2" man lying on the front lawn, correct?
No, I did not.
And at no point in time, whenever you looked at that black SUV, did you see John O'Keefe inside the vehicle, correct?
No, I did not see John in the vehicle.
At no point in time did you hear any yelling outside 34 Fairview, correct?
No, I did not.
At no point in time did you hear any...
Now, why not just say, if you're going to make up this lie, that you saw John in the vehicle? Why not just say that you saw him in the vehicle? If he's alone, where the fuck is he? You don't see him in the car.
Scream of pain outside 34 Fairview, correct?
No, I didn't.
At no point in time did you ever hear any crash noises outside 34 Fairview?
Objection.
Allow it.
No.
And last question on this point, at no point did you hear any noises at all outside 34 Fairview that attracted your attention?
No, there's music playing in the house, so I didn't hear anything.
There's music, guys. He missed the screams and the 3-ton vehicle hitting John O'Keefe because there was music, guys. That there was Adele was playing. So, I mean, look at that face. That's the face right there of just like, tricked you. What you got? Like he really thinks he's like outfoxed David Yannetti.
Okay. Now, after being at the Albert home for a period of time early that morning, you left the home approximately 1:40 a.m. or so?
Yeah, give or take 1:40, 1:45. I don't know the exact time.
And you walked out with your wife, Jennifer McCabe, and 2 of Brian Jr.'s friends, correct?
Yes, Brian's 2 friends were joining Jennifer and I. We were driving them home.
And whether you knew their names or not that night, you subsequently learned their names to be Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel?
That's correct.
And you all came out of the house together, correct?
Yeah, I don't recall who was where when we walked to the car, but we all left the house at the same time.
And directly in front of all of you was the front lawn, correct?
If I was to walk straight out the front door, yes, the front lawn's in front of me.
And when you were walking out, the black SUV was gone, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And when you first came out of the house facing that front lawn, you didn't see a black baseball cap, correct?
That's correct.
Or a black sneaker, correct?
That's correct.
Or 45 pieces of red plastic tail light, correct?
That's correct.
Or even one, correct?
Nothing.
That's correct.
And once again, you didn't see a 6'2" man lying on the front lawn, correct?
No, I wish I did, but I didn't.
I wish I did.
As you were walking out with your wife and these 2 other...
He got that from Brian Albert. I wish I did. I wish they did come inside. I wish they did. And then why would you wish you did? What were you going to do? If you wish you saw... Look at the face. He's doing the face again. That's the Chubbs McCabe face right there. When he gets mad, that's just what he does. But again, the jury's hearing all this. Like, dude, you can't have missed all of this. They've been to 34 Fairview Road. They took a field trip there. They know that doesn't add up. This story's not making any
women,
sense.
none of them yelled that they saw anything like that, correct?
Correct.
And then you all piled into the vehicle, which was in the driveway, correct?
Yes.
You and your wife got into the front, the driver's seat and the passenger seat, correct?
Yes, I sat in the driver's seat. My wife was in the passenger seat. I had to brush off the car, but that's where we sat.
And the other two women who were friends with Brian Jr. got into the second row passenger seat, correct?
Yes.
And I believe your testimony is you don't know who was where within that, but they did get in there.
Yes, they were behind us. I don't know who sat in what seat.
Once you got inside the vehicle, is that when you realized that you had left something back into the house?
I don't recall leaving something in the house.
I'm sorry?
I don't recall leaving something in the house. I don't. If I did, I did. I don't recall leaving something in the house.
You don't recall going back into the house?
No, I don't recall going back into the house.
He doesn't recall going back into the house. Isn't that what Julie Nagel said he did? Went back into the house? These people can't get their story straight. Like, why not? You're selling her out.
If you went back into the house, the front lawn would have been directly in front of you from the driveway, correct?
The lawn would have been to my left, and I would have went up the walkway to the house.
Okay, well, that's my next question. When you went up the walkway, the front lawn would have been to your left, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then coming out, you would have had the same view that you had the first time, correct?
Yes, it would have come back out the same way down the steps to the left.
And without going through all the various items that I asked you about in terms of not seeing on the front lawn, the speaker, the cap, the tail light, etc., you didn't see any of that stuff at any point the second time, correct?
Correct. I did not see anything.
Okay, so now you're finally back in your vehicle and you are backing out of the driveway, correct?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that to get to your, is it fair to say that to drop the women off, your plan was to head toward Chapman Street?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna fast forward to when he gets the text messages. This is fun.
We're physically either at or near the Albert home at 34 Fairview in Kearney, correct?
I could have been. I don't recall if I was there.
You recall watching what investigators were doing in the neighborhood on February 1st?
I do not. If you could show it to me, I could maybe reflect my memory. I do not recall that specific day.
You don't recall monitoring? Say that you went inside Fairview at maybe around 7 a.m. Is that a good estimate?
Yeah, I don't know the exact time, but it would say give or take, could be a little before. Correct.
Okay. Now,
here we go.
In the days after January 29th, you participated in a group text exchange.
Oh, look at this.
With 3 other people. Do you recall that?
Oh, look at his face. What?
Can you name the 3 people?
Oh, look at that. Oh,
you had a group
look at
text
his
chat
face.
going with your wife, Jennifer McCabe,
Watch this.
your brother-in-law, Brian Albert, and your sister-in-law, Nicole Albert, correct?
Oh, yes.
I'd like to ask you some questions about that group text chat, if I might.
Sure.
You would agree with me.
Dude, this is, he didn't see this one coming. Lally did not prep him for this. He's like, fuck. They have that group chat? Fuck. Shit.
That on February 1st of 2022, that was 3 days after John O'Keefe passed away, correct?
Yes.
And at some point on February 1st of 2022, you were physically either at or near the Albert home at 34 Fairview in Kearney, correct?
I could have been. I don't recall if I was there.
You recall watching what investigators were doing in the neighborhood on February 1st?
I do not. If you could show it to me, I could maybe reflect my memory. I
he could show it to you.
Day.
You don't recall monitoring what troopers were doing?
I was not monitoring anything that the troopers were doing. If I had driven down the street, dropping someone off, picking somebody up, and saw the troopers.
You see that nervous Matt McCabe? Like, that's what he did with me. That's what Matt McCabe does when he's nervous. Chubbs McCabe does this fake laugh thing. But he's really freaking out. This guy's shitting his pants. He knows they're in trouble, dude. He's like, they have this, like, monitoring the police. No, we were just talking about what they were doing and saying what to say. Okay. Sure thing, Chubb.
Then I saw the troopers. I was not monitoring anything.
Directing your attention to 1:34 p.m. and 27 seconds. You texted your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, quote, troopers back out front, but in front of Asian house.
Asian house. Ooh.
If I texted that, you could show it to me.
Oh.
Yes.
It says that, Matt. It says it, Chubbs. Asian house. Because again, their neighbors are Asian.
Show it to him. Don't.
The neighbors at 32 Fairview over here.
Show it to Mr. And don't
over there.
You think this is my first try?
Asian. Anti-McAlbert. And he calls them the Asian house.
Thank you.
I'm showing you a document, sir, and if you look up or look at it.
I don't use glasses, but I can't see this. So maybe I need glasses. I'm making it out. I got it. Is it light?
No, he says he doesn't.
No, it's not. It's just dark, but I got it.
It's dark. Look at him. Dude, look at that face. Look at that face. He's taking this all in right now. He's like, fuck. You know what he's thinking about right now? What else did I say in this group chat? What are they about to show me? Lally didn't prep me for any of this shit. Like, look at that face. That is the face of bewilderment. He's like, we have not had time to get our story straight on this. What is going on here? The Asian thing is just the tip of the iceberg because he's looked at the jury and there's 2 Asian people on it. And, you know, I think the defense brought that up on purpose because we're all the same to you? We just ate the Asian house. Do you say that? Like, do you say that for any other race? Like the black house? The black house? Would you ever say that? The Mexican house? Is that? No, but so why is it okay to do to Asians, Matt? Why is that a thing? Oh, we all look the same to you? Is that what you're saying, Chubbs? Is that what you're saying? Is that why we're not invited to the barbecue? Because our kids outperform you in school? Are you jealous, Chubbs? Sorry. Look at that face. It's not even dark in there. Like it's not dark in there at all. It's the lights are fine. Look at him. What the hell? Look at this.
If you're struggling,
I'm reading mine, right? The middle one? Yeah. I got it.
This is fake. He can read it.
I see it.
This is a stall tactic.
Yes.
This is like he's freaking out. He's thinking about how he's going to answer this.
Having reviewed that document, is your memory refreshed?
I can assure
I see
you.
that I texted what you said. I texted
It's
the
not
troopers were outside of the
dark
house.
at
Yes.
Right, that's my question. This is a page that contains the group text that you had with Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, correct?
Yes.
And in terms of the question that I asked you, you now acknowledge that you testified troopers back out front, but in front of Asian house, correct?
That's correct.
Mr. McCabe, what is an Asian house?
The next door neighbors to the Alberts were Asian.
So you mean that a family of Asian origin lived next door?
Yes.
They were the next door neighbors to your brother-in-law and sister-in-law?
Correct. They lived, if you come out of Fairview, they lived to the right of the Alberts.
And did you know their last name was the Chungs?
I had no idea that. I've never met them. I don't know their last names. I just knew it was an Asian family next door.
And you didn't feel the need to ask their names or try to call them by their names?
I've never met them. Sorry.
Objections sustained. You know what, Ms. Giannetti, let's come to cycle.
Okay. Look, he's like, fuck, great. I'm a racist now, too. All right. So he's going to read some more texts.
So am I to assume where you said Brian Albert said right now?
Yeah. Would you like to see that?
So would that be the last one? Did I get to see all the text or no? Did I get to see all?
I will fuck you up.
When you did tell the group chat about the troopers being at that house, nobody asked you to clarify which house you were talking about, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Did anyone ask you to clarify?
Nobody asked me to clarify that I recall.
In fact, Brian Albert responded with just a question right now. Do you recall that?
Yes, I think that was on the screen you just showed me.
And you responded yes, correct?
Did I get to see all the text or no?
And by the way, these texts, like, he was not ready for these texts. Now, there's 2 ways they could have got these text messages. Keep in mind, they got Jen McCabe's phone records. The SJC overruled Auntie Bev and gave her phone records to the defense. So we can assume that she got them. Or the feds got it because the feds got Brian Albert's phone. We can assume they got all their phones. Matt McCabe's phone. They got everything. So it's very likely that, I mean, I'm guessing they got this from the feds. And he is unprepared for this. He is looking at this like, can I see them? What do you guys got at me? And it's a stall tactic. He can see fine. I've been in this courtroom. The lighting's just fine. There's the sunlight's coming in right behind him. It's the middle of the day. It's fine in there. It's absolutely fine. His vision's fine. Everything's fine.
And with the court's permission,
yes.
I'm going to give you the previous page in case you need it.
Just give it to him. Thank you.
So am I to assume where you said Brian Albert said right now?
Yeah. Would you like to see that?
So would that be the last one and then this is the next one? I'm just making sure.
I understand. I appreciate that. You tell me.
Okay.
With the court's permission.
Sure.
Thank you.
I may collect the document.
I didn't read the rest of it.
He's so nervous. He's so nervous.
Okay, correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
Agree with me that after you told the group in this group text that the troopers were back out front, in front of that house, Brian Albert's response was right now?
Yes.
And then you said yes, correct?
Yes.
And then Brian Albert replied, okay, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. As of the reading.
Okay. Is that how he replied?
That's what it just said, yes.
All right. Now, at that point, you texted the group that you were trying to get a picture of what you were seeing, correct?
I didn't see that on the text.
And you don't deny that you said that in the text, correct?
Can you show me the text, please?
Oh, sure. Oh, did you say you didn't see it in the
I didn't see that, no.
Oh, you're gonna see it, Chubbs. You're gonna see it. Like, why does Chubbs need to see this shit? You know he's got it, but okay.
Yes.
Yeah, clean those ears there.
Have you
pal.
shown those both to Mr. Lally?
That's the next page off this one.
Oh, okay.
So this is when he asked for a phone.
Thank you very much.
So somebody hands
All
him
right,
a
much
fucking
better.
flashlight. Like, look at this shit. Look at this crap. Chubb, stop it. Stop it with your phone. Like, somebody was suggesting that he was like taking pictures with his phone of this, but it's not his phone. It's not his phone, is it? So, like, dude, look at the face of look
I got it
at
now.
bewilderment on his face.
Grab that from you.
Thanks.
Having reviewed that, do you acknowledge that you texted the group that you were trying to get a picture of what you were seeing?
Yes, I said I was going to try to take a photo.
All right. You would agree with me that you were watching what was going on, correct, on February 1st?
No, I just happened to be driving through the neighborhood at that moment.
So you happened to be driving through, and then you texted the group to tell them what you saw, correct?
Yes.
And then you didn't just keep driving up the road and leave the area, did you?
I think I did.
Well,
I don't, unless you tell me I went back, I think I did. I said I was going to try to take a picture.
right. Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
You weren't, just having seen the troopers back out there at that house, in your mind, you still weren't done, correct?
I was going to take a picture to show them, oh, the troopers are outside your house.
Right. So
Like, why would they even do that? Oh, the troopers are outside your house. Who cares? If you didn't do anything, who cares? Why are you even talking about that? It just seems like, I don't know. Like, if you, why were you monitoring the actions of the state police, who you really don't even have to worry about because you got them in your pocket? So nothing to worry
in
about.
answer to my question, you weren't done with that scene, correct?
I'm with you, Matt.
I think I was, because I don't know if I took a picture.
Well,
I think I went through. I mentioned I was going to try to take a picture. I don't know if I took a picture or not.
you didn't intend to be done at that point, correct?
I didn't intend to be done.
Right, because you wanted to take a picture of what was going on.
I was going to take a picture to show them that troopers were outside in front of the
I
house.
wanted to
Correct.
continue to monitor what was going on. Did you not?
I was not monitoring what was going on. I just happened to drive by at that moment.
Just like Berkowitz.
Maybe we should start off.
See, he just happened to drive by. All these people that happen to drive by 34 Fairview Road, it's not a cut-through street. It's not. It doesn't. There's no reason to ever be at 34 Fairview Road unless you're specifically going to 34 Fairview Road. Nothing goes through it.
Okay.
Okay. So then I think this is when they take a break. Okay. And then he comes back. He's got his phone this time.
All right, Slickwood, please.
Thank you.
All right. So then they got the messages when they come back.
How is your distance vision?
Exactly.
I don't know why it's from blue.
Like that. If Karen hit him,
Can I
how do
have them
you
in front of
care
me
what
when
the
I
complete
display them?
Yes.
Please. Thank you very much.
And feel free to use
By
the
the way,
flashlight.
8,000 people on Rumble right now. 8,000.
Oh, yeah, that's much better.
Okay,
Yes.
now we can all see it. With regard to your initial text exchange that we talked about, can you confirm what you texted at 1:34 and 27 seconds in the afternoon of February 1st, 2022?
Yes. Do you want me? Oh,
Yeah,
troopers back out front, but in front of Asian House. Looks like more has been dug up there for at least looks like it.
Just basically go down the page, right off, seen it.
Yeah, yep, see it.
And his
Right
response
now.
was,
Right now.
and that was at 1:34 p.m. and 45 seconds.
Yes, it was.
Question about right now,
I responded, yes.
Yes.
and that was at 1:34 p.m. and 56 seconds.
Okay.
Yes.
You would have still been on scene at that time? Given the fact that you're saying troopers are up front, and he's asking right now,
So take this one down, please.
Okay. So then go look at more texts. Trying to get a
Now we're at
picture.
1:35 p.m. and 16 seconds.
Okay. Why would you need a picture?
Discussed in that group chat the fact that Michael Proctor was talking to Kerry Roberts over the phone, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
At 3:01 and 48 seconds.
They definitely made a
You commented on the interview of Michael Proctor with Kerry Roberts, did you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
There would be some.
Okay. All right.
So I'd like you to know.
And there's 𝗫𝗄𝗃 there. What does 𝗫𝗄𝗃 go by on Twitter? He is the biggest fucking loser. His brother's banned from the courtroom because he assaulted Karen Reed. But when this is over, I can and the people. He's like Carl Dougal is John's buddy. He's one of the he was a pallbearer at his funeral. I've had a conversation with him before in which he seemed open-minded about this a little bit and just pretended like he was just, can you be respectful? But I'm still, a little skeptical. He seemed a little skeptical, but he just hates me and he hates Karen. So he does this whole thing. His brother is look at his brother. Look at Ken there. When this is all over and all the bad guys go down, like I am going to dunk all over this fucking loser. Like this fucking loser here who sits like, up there in the front row, like, oh yeah, I really care about John. That's why I'm sitting with the people who fucking, the McCabe's are right behind me and I support them. Like, I cannot wait to dunk on all of these fucking losers because they supported cop killers at the end of the day. You fucking idiots. You absolute idiots. We are going to never, ever, ever, ever let you let this down. Like ever. When this goes down and the indictments come and first Karen Reed's going to get acquitted. We're going to dunk on you for that. And then you're going to say, well, she got away with murder. Okay. And then the indictments are going to come. And then we're really going to dunk on you. Like just you, if I were them, I would just disappear. I would just never go on the internet again, ever. Because we're going to be waiting for you. And there will be no amnesty. None. Because all the facts are presented in front of you. It's quite obvious that there was a cover up here and that Karen Reed's innocent. And they know that. They're not that stupid. They know that. And they're choosing to take this position, this pro-cop killer position. And we will never stop. We will never stop, dude. 𝗫𝗄𝗃. Like, oh boy, when this is done, man, and you're not going to be able to hide behind the witness intimidation statute then, because we going to find you. We going to interview you. Like lacrosse games, like it's all free speech, brother. It is. It's all protected speech. And they're not going to be witnesses anymore. They're going to be suspects. They're going to be defendants. It's coming. It's coming. You can act like it's not, but it's coming. And the feds are letting this whole shit show playing out right now in court. I get why the feds haven't indicted now. They want to see they want to see how far these motherfuckers are going to go. How much is Jen McCabe willing to lie? They're just sitting there waiting they're just like, okay. Like, I get it now. I totally get it. Why they would let this. They said they couldn't in good conscience allow this to go to trial, but it wasn't up to them. And I think they know in good conscience, Karen Reed ain't getting convicted. So they want to see how far these motherfuckers are willing to go. That's just my thought. But
If the witness in the dock, if there's something that he can have.
What I'm going to do now, sir, is to hand you 3 more pages and ask if you can identify those.
Thank you.
The phone. There's the phone again. He might be taping this. He might be taping this. Look at the face. Look at the face. There is no way. There is no way he's like, look at the facial reactions he's making. There's no way he's just like, he's taping this, dude. That's what he's doing right now. This is all an act. It's like, so we can meet at the graveyard later on and talk about this. Like, give me a break, Matt. Stop it. Look at the facial reactions. This actor. Jesus Christ, Chubbs.
Those are from the same group chat that you identified earlier, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And it appears to have the same sequence and content of the group chat as well.
Yes.
Hold up that one. He's making it up after the fact for some reason, end quote, correct? PM and 48 seconds on February 1st.
My question, objection, just
May that be displayed on?
may what be displayed? And I did not take it in. I said the content on a question by question, so it's each bubble.
You saw that at 3:01 PM and 48 seconds on February 1st that you texted, quote, very weird that she's been barely interviewed. The whole dead comment was just told. I was supposed to have them talk last night and forgot to tell Proctor to call her. Do you recall that?
I recall it, correct.
Yeah.
Those are your words, correct?
Yes, they are.
May that be displayed?
No, it's in. We may display it later, but I'd like to move this testimony along. So that's in evidence.
And then,
I would like to move this testimony along. Has she ever said that to 𝗟𝗟 when he asks for the 5 millionth time about the goddamn weather? Ever?
in that discussion,
she's horrible.
At 3:03 PM and 15 seconds, it was Brian Albert who texted, quote, hope they don't think she's making it up after the fact for some reason, end quote, correct?
Objection.
I hope they don't think she's making it up after.
Can you read the timestamp again?
It's the second page.
02161.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's in the middle. I got that timestamp correct?
3:03:15.
Correct. And I read that accurately. Hope they don't think she's making it up after the fact.
Yes, that's correct.
And then
what does that comment mean? I hope they don't think she's making it up after the fact. What are you worried about? Seriously, if you guys were just in that house and Karen Reed did it outside, what are you worried about what Kerry Roberts is saying? Like, what do you give a shit? What are you hoping she says? You're completely innocent, right? So what the fuck are you worried about? They're petrified. Like, this whole conversation is consciousness of guilt.
less than a minute later at 3:05 and 32 seconds, you replied, yes, she was hardly interviewed, and I think just answered what was asked. Oh, I'm sorry, strike that whole question. I skipped his next response, which is at 3:05 and 2 seconds, where he said, but if they barely interviewed her, that's on them, correct?
That's from Brian. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to that exchange, you would agree with me that you were talking about Kerry Roberts being interviewed by Michael Proctor, correct?
I don't want to make an assumption. Do you have the text previous to this that shows that we're referencing Kerry?
I do, and I'll show you that only to refresh your memory.
Yeah, I don't want to assume something.
I understand.
They have it, Chubbs. Don't worry.
One page and ask you to look at it silently to yourself.
Oh, it's silent reading time. Silent reading time.
Okay,
with Chubbs.
that was it. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it was there, Chubbs. You don't need to see it. Okay.
Did those previous pages refresh your memory about the context of your group chat conversation?
Yes, it did.
And certainly it was talking about Kerry Roberts being interviewed, correct?
Yes, it was.
And you were passing along information about that interview to Brian Albert, were you not?
Yes, I was letting him know that Kerry was being interviewed.
And you were telling him things that she was saying, correct?
Yeah, trust me.
Remember you said the whole dead comment was just told?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
All right, and then
Oh, look at that
move on to
face.
the very last discussion that I'd like to ask you about.
The good stuff now.
Earlier that day, February 1st, 2022, at 12:50 PM and 37 seconds, Brian Albert texted the group, which would have again
There we
been
go.
his wife Nicole, your wife Jennifer, and you. And that text was
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, so I can't, which bubble on which page?
02148.
Right, on which page?
That's the page, 02148.
Okay, so I don't have it.
The bubble is the second of the three bubbles.
So I don't have it. I don't know what the objection's pertaining to.
He just likes to say objection.
Jurors, I apologize that this is taking so long.
Yeah, exactly. It's all Chubbs' fault and 𝗟𝗟.
You know what, Mr. Yannetti, why don't you?
This is definitely what we're on. And for the
So you're objecting to it, so I'm not going to let you say what it is. You can show it to the witness. Which one is this?
second bubble on 02148. And the third bubble on 02148.
Allow, based on the objection from the Commonwealth, the second bubble on 02148. I will allow the author of the third bubble on page 02148
No, the second bubble on 02148
is not allowed into evidence.
I need to be heard on that one.
No, all right, I'll hear you at sidebar.
She doesn't want to allow these text conversations into evidence. Why? Why? Okay, so let's get to the good stuff here. We're going to find out why in a second.
And Mr. Jackson, if you are planning on doing this with the next witness, I'd like you to let Mr. 𝗟𝗟 know which ones of these you intend to.
Court back in session, please be seated.
Mr. Yannetti.
Thank you. 12:51 and 49 seconds, you texted the group chat to say, ask Chris to ask some questions, correct?
Yep, I'm reading it right now. Yes, that's correct.
And who was the Chris you were referring to?
That would be 𝗵𝗴𝗲𝗺.
Brian's brother, correct?
That is correct.
And then you texted your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, quote, tell them the guy never went in the house, correct?
Yeah, that's part of the same text. Yes.
Mr. McCabe, who was the guy that you were referring to? Does he have a name?
That would be John O'Keefe.
John O'Keefe, the guy.
When you told the group to tell them the guy never went in the house, that was you talking about how you should all get your stories straight, correct?
No.
Look, see that smile that you saw there? That's what you saw at the lacrosse game. No, that's his way of saying, yeah. That's what Matt McCabe does when he's busted. He makes that face. No, that was not a way of so what was it saying? What were you saying there? So he's telling, I guess the news was in D&E Pizza, and he's like, tell Chris to tell them the guy never came in the house. The guy? You can't call him John. This is like your best friend. You're all up here crying. Oh, I've known John for so long. We love John. We love him. The guy, man in the snow. That's what they call John when push comes to shove. That's what they think of him. The guy. So, and also, what do they care what Chris Albert says to the media? Tell them the guy comes. So he's obviously telling Brian, tell your idiot brother, tell him the guy never came in the house. Why would he need to be instructed to say that if that's what happened? Why would he need to be instructed to say that? That's the whole basis of your fucking story, right? Is he never came in the house? Why not just say he never, just tell the truth? If he's, yeah. I mean, if Karen Reed actually did this, like, I mean, there's really nothing to discuss. It doesn't matter what Chris says. But yeah, who knows exactly? It might not have even been the news.
Me that your stories are all straight in terms of the guy never went in the house, correct?
Objection.
Can you answer that?
John never went in the house. It's not a story, it's a fact.
It's a fact.
Well, when you said, tell them the guy never went in the house, Brian Albert was on that exchange still, was he not? He was still part of the group text?
Yes, Brian is on the exchange.
And Brian Albert was the one to respond, wasn't he?
Let me switch pages here.
The answer is yes, idiot.
He responded, did he not?
Yes, he did.
And then at that point, you knew Brian Albert was the oldest brother of the Albert family,
that's
correct?
true.
Yes, that's correct.
The oldest sibling in that family, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, why is the news in D&E
his
Pizza?
Response to your instructions that his younger brother, Chris, should say that John O'Keefe never went in the house, or the guy never went in the house, you would agree with me that he responded with one word, correct?
Yes, he did.
And in response to you saying, the guy never went in the house, Brian Albert's response was, exactly, correct?
Yes, that's his response.
We're done here.
We're done here.
All right. Commonwealth, any redirect?
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Exactly. That's how he ends it on a high note. Exactly. Dude, there's only one way to take that. There's only one way to take that. Exactly. Like if tell him the correct response to that, if you're Brian Albert and you're completely innocent, tell him to say that the guy never went in the house. Yeah, no shit. He didn't go in the house. So there's nothing really to talk about. Exactly. We're done here. I know that was like mic drop. I'm done with this guy. And then that, bro, Lally's going to try. Lally doesn't bring any of this up at the redirect, of course. He doesn't have an explanation for it. Nothing. And remember when that McLaughlin chick, the other one, the prosecutor, she said that like 90 to 95% is just verifies our own investigation. None of this was in your investigation.
Mr. McCabe, John O'Keefe never went in the house that night. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And from this text communication, as far as Chris Albert was concerned, was Chris Albert ever at the house on that night?
No, he was not.
And this is something that you obviously, death of John O'Keefe occurring, how it did, where it did, and why it did. That was something that you discussed.
Can you keep your voice up?
Yes, I'm sorry. This tragic occurrence, as far as what happened to John O'Keefe, his death, where, why, how, that was something that you discussed within the family. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Why?
I didn't hear that.
Why was it a discussion in the family?
You're talking about the immediately after? No one knew what happened. John never came in the house, so we had no idea what happened to John.
And John was someone you were friends with, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh yeah, real good friends.
Now, did you ever tell anybody what to say at any point in time to the state police or any investigator whatsoever?
No.
Did anyone in your family or in your presence ever tell anyone that in front of you?
No.
Now, you asked some questions about when you were looking out and you saw the SUV, correct?
Yes.
And your focus, as you indicated in your testimony, was on the SUV, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, during the time that you were looking out, did you ever see a pickup truck outside?
I knew the pickup truck was out there, but again, I didn't look at the pickup.
This is Ryan
I saw it. I was
Nagel.
focusing on the SUV.
And
I saw a vehicle out there. Let's say that.
my question is more so, as far as the tire marks that you were talking about in the road, was that before or after the pickup truck was
It was after.
After.
Now you were asking questions.
So this is how they're going to explain why Ryan Nagel didn't see shit. She killed him after. After. Ryan Nagel said he stayed there for 5 or 10 minutes, I believe. If she got there at 12:20 or 12:25, whatever the fuck they're saying she got there, Ryan Nagel got there afterwards, right? A couple seconds afterwards. Because he pulls in after Cedar Crest. They let her go first. So if he leaves and then he's observing her car out there by himself, like, keep in mind, Karen, according to their own theory, Karen was 62 feet up, which we went out there with the tape measure. That brings you into the middle of the front of the Asian house. That, like, she's parked in front of the Asian house and John's just standing there in the corner. How could he even see? There's a tree line. Remember, he can't see anything past the tree line. So how did he even see the car? In front of the Asian house.
About directionality and things of that nature as far as coming down Chapman or Cedar Crest, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And so if someone had driven by the house, missed the house, and went on Cedar Crest, turned around, presumably then they would be taking a left or a right from Cedar Crest onto Fairview. Is that right?
Yes, if they passed the house, they would have come to Cedar Crest and turned around and come back onto Fairview.
First, do you recall what you were doing on that day when you drove by Fairview?
I don't recall.
I don't
what I was doing.
recall.
I don't recall exactly what I did that day.
And were you going specifically by Fairview, or where were you?
Based off of reading these text messages, I was doing something, picking up a car or something, it says.
Why would you pick up a car on Fairview Road? Is there a dealership there? You're picking up a car on Fairview Road?
I don't recall where. And I cut down Fairview.
You cut,
as far as your statement,
like,
in those text
you
messages,
cut down Fairview? It's not a cut through street. Where are you coming from? Look at a goddamn map of Canton. It's never a reason to cut through Fairview Road at all. Try going down Cedar Crest. There's a stop sign every 10 feet. It's the exact opposite of a cut through. It makes no sense.
where you said, looks like more has been dug up. You recall that?
I don't recall it. I read it in the text message.
You recall what that was in regard to? As far as what were they digging?
Sorry, I do recall.
He forgot the line. Oh yeah, I remember. We coached these. Like, remember we talked about this at coaching session. Oh yeah, right.
No, the snow. It looked like the snow banks. It looked like there was more snow dug out in the
right
around the around the scene.
Yeah.
And by scene, you mean around with black hole fire hydrant? That was
correct. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Do you recall any sort of change in the weather between the 29th and February?
Oh, it was getting warmer.
I believe the temperature rose. Snow was starting to melt, if I recall.
When you and your wife were, the wife was talking to Mr. O'Keefe and you were giving directions, there was some reference to Bella's house, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
We're gonna get
divorced.
We're gonna get to Bella's house after this. So let's get to Jen in 1 second. Let me read a couple turtle chats here. Bang through some turtle chats. If anyone else wants their message read, just click at the link at the top for turtle chat. Donate whatever you want. Send me a message. I'll read it out loud to the class, or you can cash at me at $Uncle_Turtleboy. Let me bang through some of these. And we also have one Rumble rant. Again, try to do the turtle chats better. Mom's huge feet on X says, will it ever come up that the FBI said John's injuries weren't consistent with being struck by a car and Karen? Yes, that is going to come up when the defense brings their witnesses up, the accident reconstruction experts that the FBI hired. They can't bring any FBI agents, but they can bring in the accident reconstruction experts with all their PhDs, who I did a big story on, and they will testify to all this stuff. The prosecution has no accident reconstruction experts at all. They don't want to talk about what happened because they know their story doesn't make any sense. That's why they want to talk about Aruba and I hit him. That's what they want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the actual facts in the matter. They're not interested. So thank you very much for that. Jay from New Hampshire sends $10, says, longtime rider. Love your commentary on the Reed trial. Keep up the great work. Love to Marie. Thank you very much, Jay. Sir Francis sends 25 and says, Jen House of Lies video. Damn, video of the year. You can add award-winning video creator to your award-winning journalist title. Can't wait for Tuesday. Yeah, we're going to get to that in one sec. Thank you very much, Sir Francis. Dave sends $10, says, I've never laughed harder than when Alan Jackson sarcastically yelled, was he mean to you? At Colin Albert, because he doesn't know what antagonistic or confrontational means. I know. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Eileen sends $50 and says, thanks to Kathy McDonald, Nick Rocco, and Turtleboy. My family is enjoying a great time in Florida. Free Karen Reed. All right. Thank you very much, Eileen. I appreciate that. Shelly sends $25 and says, I wonder how many times Matt and Jen practice yelling, Jen. I know. When you do thing, we finally see the picture of John's beaten up face. When do you think we'll see it? Keep up the good work. When they bring in the medical examiner, right? I mean, she's got to go soon. 𝗺𝗿𝗍𝗄. She's got to be soon. So thank you very much, Shelly. Sandra sends $20 and says, will they dispute Psycho Jen about her saying she prayed with Karen Reed in the cruiser? The only person who can dispute that is Karen Reed. We'll see if Karen Reed takes a stand. I don't know how this works. From my conversations with her long time ago, she sounded pretty gung-ho about taking the stand. She wanted to take the stand. I don't know if things have changed. If you look at this and you're like, we're winning now, we don't need to put you up there. No need to. We'll see. But she's the only one that can dispute that. Thank you very much, Sandra. Let's see. Okay. AB sends $5, says Chubbs is contemplating life choices and knows he won't do well in prison. Yeah, I mean, Chubbs is probably looking at a little, I don't know if they'll send him to prison, but definitely his wife. Josephine sends $5, says, do you think Tuesday Jen's sisters will still be sitting with the O'Keeffes? I know. If there's any doubt, that's a good question. Who murdered my kid? You bet your ass I go after anyone who could have been involved. But they got to keep an eye on the O'Keeffes. So that's the thing here. Okay. Another turtle chat from Bob sends $10, says, Turtleboy, you and Trump have the best branding and nickname. Chubbs. Oh my fucking God. Too funny. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, all right. Also got some cash apps to bang through here before we move on to Jen. And people keep asking about the shirt if it's for sale. Somebody just made this for me, but I suppose we could put it in the store if we wanted. I hardly ever wear this one. All right. Let's see. Do we have cash apps here? Okay. Fatty McAlbert donates $22 and says, pass the crystal light. Okay. We have Valerie sends $10 and says, what do you think is the real reason for the fight? My theory has always been that John walked into that house. I'm convinced more than ever after the testimony now that Colin Alberts was the lead guy, that Colin Alberts, the one that started the whole thing. And I'm more convinced than ever it was Colin. That's just me. I think he was so involved. I think he walked in the house. John's like, this fucking kid's here. Fucking, what's this kid doing here? And Colin's just like, fuck you say to me, bitch. Fucking bang on you. Knock you out, KO. Bang, bang. I think that's what happened. That's just me. And I think Brian Albert's not going to let his nephew, who he wishes was his son, get disrespected in his own house. And then I think the dog jumped in. That's what I think happened. That's just my theory. All right. Thank you for that one, Valerie. Bob sends $2.27. Here's what I think happened. 2:27 a.m. Thanks, Bob. Next up, we have Deanna sends $30 and says, love you, A. Oh, I love you too, Deanna. Great person. Great lady, Deanna Corby. Parker Hall sends $10 and says, nothing, but thank you, Parker Hall. Bob sends 777 and said, why would Channel 4 go to the pizza place? They didn't. That's the other part that makes no sense. They would have no reason to go to the pizza place, would they? None at all. So, all right, cool. By the way, huge crowd tonight. 8,500 people watching on Rumble right now. Imagine what we'd have on YouTube. That'd be wild. It's gonna be dope when we get back. Like, first show back is the Jen McCabe show. Like, she's testifying that day. Dude, ratings are gonna. I think we might crack 10,000 on Tuesday, and even we got 15,000 people on Twitter. It's fucking huge, man. Huge. Sell it to TD Garden doing this. Turtleboy Live. All right, so let's jump into Jen McCabe here. Now the fun starts. Let's jump right into it. We're gonna skip over a lot of shit because she's just. I mean, look at this face.
And how long did you live on Suffolk?
Approximately 10 years.
And with regard to both addresses, with anyone you lived with.
All right.
Now, as far as the high school game was concerned, is there a sort of a typical start time for?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Move on. We know the time. Move on.
Is there a typical time for high school basketball games? Even he got told to move on by Auntie Bev there. It's like, dude, Lally is fucking killed. Like, he has nothing.
You recall specifically when around that was, what year, what month, anything like that?
That I met Miss Reed?
I'm gonna fast forward.
Upstairs, downstairs, basement area, or anywhere else in the house?
No.
Now, when you were in the car and you were driving, you hooked your phone up to the charger, is that right?
Yes.
You recall charging your phone at any point in time when you were at?
You call charging your phone. So before we get too into this, I'm going to show you a quick video that I posted on social media earlier. Okay. Just because it's like one of many lies that she gets caught in. But I think, hold on. I don't like that. Hold on. That work? Cool. All right. Let's pull this up. So Jen McCabe said that when her, Karen Reed, and Kerry Roberts arrived at John's house before they found his body, that Karen pointed out in John's driveway that she had a cracked taillight. So, but then 10 minutes later, Lunchbox Lally plays the Ring video from the driveway. And it shows the exact opposite. That it just shows that she made the whole thing up. I don't know what they were thinking. So let's play this. Just watch this.
And so after the three of you get out of your respective vehicles, what happened?
Karen brings us to the back of the car and she says, look, see, I have a cracked taillight.
That's new. Karen brings us to the back of the car when they get back to Meadows Ave. So they've gone to Jen. She went to Jen's house. Then she gets in the car with Jen and comes back to Meadows. And this is the point where she brings up the taillight's cracked. This is the point. And she shows him the cracked taillight, except this is the surveillance video. This is what happens. There's nothing there. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. You just got out of the car.
And where on the vehicle was she directing yourself and Miss Roberts' attention?
The back right.
So passenger side, rear part of the vehicle.
Yes.
And when
they directed my attention to the back right of the tail. So show me the part here where Karen Reed directs Kerry and Jen's attention to her back taillight. Show me that part. I missed it. I missed it. It seems she's lying.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
And when you looked at that area of the vehicle, what could you see of that?
I saw that there were missing pieces, but there was also snow covering it. And Karen was screaming, look, look, and then.
So there was missing pieces? Why would she say missing pieces? Wouldn't she just say there was missing, like it looked broken? How do you know there was more than one piece, Jen? How did you know that? It was missing pieces? Huh? And it was covered in snow, almost like you looked at the Canton Police dash cam video and saw it afterwards. Yeah. So missing pieces, huh? That's interesting. But she, like again, what did she say she saw?
Well, what could you see of that?
I saw that there were missing pieces, but there was also snow covering it. And Karen was screaming, look, and then.
So I missed the part where Karen's screaming in this video. I missed the part where Jen examines it and sees missing pieces. I missed all that. Maybe this seems rather brief. They just walk in. And what else?
Carrie was screaming back at her. It was very chaotic.
Carrie was screaming. I see Carrie get out of the car and immediately waddle. She waddles into the house. Look at this waddle. Like, I missed that part. Why you lying, girl? Why you lying?
Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
So I didn't stare in depth, but what I can tell you is I saw missing pieces from the taillight.
Missing pieces? Like, she saw missing pieces. She doesn't even look at it.
And at some point, about how long a period of time is this that you're out in Mr. O'Keefe's driveway looking at the crack test?
Not long, because then Carrie's, yelling at her, telling her she's crazy.
Carrie's yelling at her. Carrie doesn't even say shit. She doesn't even interact with him, does she?
She was driving around drunk and she could have hit anything, and kind of rushes us to go into the house.
What? Rushes them to get in the house? Why you lying, girl?
Always lying to me.
Why?
You lying so much.
Why?
You making it hard for me.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know why she feels the need to lie like that. Like, where did she's just, again, this is Jen McCabe's arrogance. This is the beauty of what she did. For all these idiots online, oh, she seems credible. Bitch, you're about to see how credible she is Tuesday. This woman, none of this was in any police reports. She didn't say any of this in any police reports, but I knew this was going to happen. She's so arrogant and she's so cocky that she thinks that she can just talk her way out of it. It is going to be a bloodbath on Tuesday. If you thought Colin Albert was bad, wait till you see Jen McCabe. Wait till you see Jen McCabe. So let's play some shit here.
House on Fairview that night?
I don't recall.
You mentioned Julie Nagle, Sarah Levinson. Were those people that you knew prior to that night of the 28th?
I was familiar with who Sarah Levinson was. Maybe had run into her at different points. Julie Nagle was closer to Brian, so I would see.
But when Miss Nagle went outside, what were you?
I was sitting at the table, and then my nephew had said another car was out there.
And after your nephew said that, what if anything did you do?
I went to the front door.
And front door of the home leads sort of, you walk in there, there's a foyer and a staircase in front of you?
Yes.
And as far as the front door was concerned, is there any sort of other door that's, is it just sort of the wooden front door, or is there another door in front?
The door was open, so it was just a storm door.
The storm door is made out of glass, is that correct?
Yes.
So when you went over to the storm door and looked out, what if anything was?
I saw a vehicle.
And can you describe the vehicle that you saw?
I saw a dark SUV.
And as far as Ms. Nagle, did you make any observations of where she was when you looked outside?
I kind of just looked at the vehicle, and then I saw lights kind of over to this side. But then once I saw the vehicle, I took out my phone and I texted John.
And just so we're clear as far as when you say this side. So you're standing at the storm door, see the vehicle, and where's the vehicle in relation to you and where you're standing at the top?
It was straight ahead.
Now the headlights that you were saying is sort of off to the side. From your perspective, looking out at the street, is that to the left or the right or something else?
Left.
And as far as this dark SUV that you saw, did you tell anything else about it as far as make, the model, and recognize it at all?
No.
Yes.
Now, as far as that vehicle was concerned, at any point in time over the course of the evening, did you see anyone exit that vehicle or come out of that vehicle at all?
Okay. So we're going to go to after lunch here. Okay.
Lights on inside the vehicle that you saw at any point in time?
No.
And those pages that I've just placed before you, do you recognize the content of those?
I do.
What do you recognize those?
They are text messages between myself and John.
And from sort of specifically that time period of the early morning of January 29th to the morning of January 29th?
Yes.
And what's contained in those is
all right, so we're going to skip to the text messages. All right, so where to? We've seen all these before. She's like, he sends him a text message saying where to. And this is important for her story later on. Because John texts her at what, 12:14 and says where to.
Green is John and blue is myself.
And so the first text from this particular date, if you could just read the jury as far as from whom the message is sent, what content is, and then what the time.
So John sent to me where to at
You call him, have a conversation, he calls you back for the conversation.
Correct.
And then subsequent to that,
Actually,
could you read the next 𝗲𝗏 down as far as from what content is and what time it is? 𝗲𝗏.
Green is John and blue is myself.
And so the first thing,
At 12:14.
maybe assist you if you have that in front of you.
Okay.
So the next,
so then at 12:18, John calls her looking for directions to the house because they're in the area and they're not quite sure. Remember, they overshot Fairview Road. Karen had to do a U-turn on Cedar Crest because she went past it, and that's why her and Ryan Nagel were coming from opposite directions.
down as a blue bubble, is that correct?
Correct.
Similar to the one before, you just read as far
Now,
as, that's.
so this whole
Before I get to that, though, so you-
this here thing at 12:27. So John's knocked out by 12:27. That this is when the scan, this is when the cover up immediately begins. Like she's like, Brian's like, you have to pretend like he never came in. Send him a text. Say, here, you got to act like you got to do this. He never came in the house. Say, is he here? So she sends him this text.
Receive that message from Mr. O'Keefe. You call him, have a conversation, he calls you back for the conversation.
Correct.
And then subsequent to that, could you read the next blue bubble down as far as from what content is and what time it is?
So this one is from myself to John, and it says here at 12:27. So at that point, I see a car out front, and I text him here.
Testify to as far as looking out the front storm door, seeing the car, and then send the text.
Correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could scroll down to that. And maybe similar, if you could just, who sent it, what's content and what is that?
I sent to John, pull behind me at 12:31.
And what were you referring to when you said hold on?
So at this point, the car had moved from the prior spot where I originally saw it. So I thought, what is he doing? Why don't they just pull behind me in the driveway?
Hello.
Again, with this bubble to read out.
From me to John saying hello, and it was at 12:40.
Why would she text? If you see him outside, just call him up real quick. Coming in? Or what? What are you doing? Hello? I mean, at 12:40? Hello? She's trying way too hard.
And at this point in time, as far as let me ask you this way. When you're sending these text messages over these periodic time periods, what, if anything, are you doing for them?
So I originally went to the front door, saw the car, texted them, then texted John. Then I went back, kind of sat at the table, just either threw my phone probably in my back pocket. And then a couple of minutes later, I got up again and saw that the car had moved. So I had sent the pull behind me. And then a few minutes later, I went back to the window, to the front door. I'm sorry.
And this is the other, that's a great point. At 12:41, the defense is going to enter into evidence a voicemail that Karen Reed leaves on John's phone that's going to show, it's going to have the sound of the garage door closing at Meadows Ave. So she's in John's house by 12:41. So this whole 12:40 shit, there's no car there. So she's playing, this is going to get her in trouble. This text message at 12:40. She claims the car's still out there. So she's like, hello, bitch, you know he's not there. You know she left. And they got proof of it. They got proof of it.
And when you went back to the front door, what, if anything, did you see that?
So at this specific point at 12:40, when I say hello, I cannot be certain whether they were still out front or if they had left.
And from any of these text messages that you sent, what kind of response did you receive from Mr. O'Keefe after awareness?
None.
Another one. Where are you? Like, this is overkill. Where are you? Why don't you just call him? You're not getting where are you? He's outside, isn't he? You see his car, right? That's the lie you're going with. Where are you, John? This is so fake.
Sure. Jen to John, where are you? And that was at 12:42. Myself to John, hello.
Another one? Another one? Too much texting. She calls him, and she does, and so she does call him 6 times between 12:40 and 12:50. Why? If I have a buddy, if I invite a friend over a house, he just doesn't come in, and then he doesn't call me back. If I call, I'm calling you once, maybe. After that, I'm moving on with my night. I don't really give a shit that much. I guess he had better shit to do. I'm good with it. Why do she's just trying so hard here. Once was enough, Jen. Once was enough.
Now, this is later in the morning.
Please answer.
A little bit more in the morning. At some point, you left residence of Fairview, you went home, you were woken by something, and then at some point, you texted John later on that morning, 29th.
Yes.
You know, the next couple of those text messages that you sent at that point.
Correct.
Please answer.
Similar to the other ones.
Myself to John, please answer at 4:59.
Why would you say like?
Myself to John.
This is the one.
Karen is worried. We need to find you.
That's the one right there. That says everything right. She's trying too hard. Karen, she knows these will eventually be seen. Karen is worried. We need to find you. Find. You don't find people who are alive. You don't find them. You would just say, Karen is worried. Where are you? Karen is worried. Are you okay? Let me know. Just where are you would be the first thing. Where are you? Like that, like we're just give her a call. We need to find you. We need to find you. Now, keep in mind, as Matt says here, she had already told Julie, according to a police report, at 4:55, Julie Albert. She gets called by Karen Reed at 4:53. Her first phone call is to Julie Albert. Why? Why Julie? Well, maybe it's to establish an out. We'll say we have some theories on this, but the whole we need to find you, this is not good. If she thinks this is good, this is not good.
At 4:59.
Find?
Myself to John, please answer so I know you're okay.
Please.
5:04.
May I approach this retreat? Now, Ms. McCabe, I can take you back to at the house on Fairview. Again, you are sending these text messages and going back to the table and then going back to the window at various times.
To the front door.
To the front door.
Yes.
And at any point in time, do you see anybody exit from the dark SUV or the black SUV you see in front of the house?
No.
And at any point in time, did John O'Keefe come into the house?
No.
And at any point in time, did John O'Keefe respond to your text messages?
No.
At any point in time, did John O'Keefe call?
No.
Now, at some point subsequent to this, have you had occasion to look at your phone or at your call history?
Yes.
And through review of that, were you able to see phone calls that your phone made to John O'Keefe's phone around that same time frame that you were texting him and going to school?
Yes.
May I approach Ron?
Yes.
And I'm showing you a 4-page document.
She's really analyzing these, yeah.
The calls between myself and John O'Keefe.
And am I correct that it starts in sort of a descending order as far as the most earliest calls are on page 4 and then the most recent are on the first page?
Yes.
And the phone calls that you were testifying to about before, as far as talking to him on the way from the waterfall to residents of Fairview, did they appear in those?
They do.
Okay, another stupid sidebar. Okay. Why doesn't Paul sit next to his mother? I think Brad Goldberg, as he's called by the trolls, asked that question. It is odd that he doesn't sit next to his mother in court and comfort her. Interesting. Just saying.
So just follow this and then come straight.
I guess he can't stare down Karen if that's the case. They love this picture.
You first saw the black SUV in front of us.
Yeah,
It was directly if I was staring at the front door. So this angle is kind of unique to see it. But if you go from the front door directly straight out, so maybe
this thing
edge, you understand what I'm saying?
Using that as right there.
So if there's the front door and I look straight out, but the perception is almost like a side view. It's not straight on, so it could have been a little over here.
Okay.
So why don't you show another picture if this one isn't helpful?
What? Okay.
Yes. So just follow this and then come straight.
What? So it's parked right here? Where was the truck?
Now, Mr. Gabe testified that another point you come to the front door and you observe the vehicle in a different spot, correct?
Correct.
If you could again using the laser pointer, just bring your attention to where the photograph would go, you observe with the vehicle in a second.
It was right about right near the flagpole.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Just coming to right there. Now, you leave the home around what time?
Approximately 1:30, between roughly 1:30, 1:45.
1:47.
And when you leave, who, if anyone, goes with you?
So it's myself, my husband Matt, and I had offered when Julie Nagel's brother had come, come to the house earlier. I had offered.
You talk.
Go ahead. I turned around and was facing them and talking to them, and I believe Sarah Levinson had laughed or made a joke because I had bread or something in my car.
They love to tell these stories to just confuse, just like, oh, we're just regular people. We're not murderers. We make jokes about peanut butter. Oh yeah, that's funny. This whole thing about raining men she does, it's just to sound like, ha, 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 we're just regular people. This is just, we're a family. We laugh and we have fun together. We're just a regular, look at me. I'm a suburban soccer mom. And most importantly, I'm white. So obviously I didn't do shit. I can't be a killer, right? Like white suburban soccer mom. No. We don't kill people. Only, financial advisors from Fidelity. They do that sort of shit, apparently.
Passenger.
Now, as you're driving past the house, heading to the house, how are you positioned within the car?
I'm turned, chatting to the girls.
So, and when you're turned, are you turned towards the window or are you turned towards the console? Which way?
Turn the console towards the back seat. So my back is to the window.
And either of these girls, did you know where they lived?
No.
Do you recall whether or not you found their homes by way of sort of yes, or was it just verbal directions?
Oh my God.
I'm assuming they just gave Matt directions.
Fucking what a stupid fucking question. That's the kind of question. So how'd you get their homes? They fucking told us where to go, you fucking clown show. What do you think? How do you think she figured out? They gave them their address and she put it in her goddamn phone and then they went there, lunchbox. Can we skip this bullshit? Oh my God.
My daughter had gotten an offer to play on a club back.
Oh, nobody cares.
Just tell us what you mean.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
So when she gets home, see what she starts talking about there? They asked her, like, what'd you do when you got home? Well, my daughter got an offer to play. She's bringing up the ozone basketball thing. That's going to be their excuse. So she's got to have the whole backstory about, because she has to have an excuse. Why were you looking at kids basketball shit at 227? Because that's their excuse for the Google shit. Oh, I wasn't Googling how long to die in cold. I was looking at ozone basketball. And well, why were you looking at ozone basketball? Well, my kid just made a team. So she's getting into this whole story she wasn't asked about. And even Auntie Bev is like, chill, bitch, chill.
Was researching a basketball team. And I believe I also texted my sisters and I texted in a group chat with my husband and another individual.
Now,
look at that face, how evil she is.
if I could just turn your attention back to when you were at the house on Fairview that evening, and I believe this is the last one. So I
I
apologize
can't
for that
wait
before,
till
but
this woman goes to
when you
prison.
were there, what if any videos or any music or anything that you pull up on your phone could share with the group?
So one of my sisters loves this song Raining Men.
There we go.
And she always, well, not always, maybe every once in a while, she's a little too much to drink and takes out an umbrella and sings and dances. And
Like, what's with the tooth? I can't stop looking at the tooth. When did that happen? I don't want to. Howie asked me about that. I'm like, I don't know. George Washington had better dental coverage than she did, I guess, dude. Yikes. And they make fun of us. So she's like, oh, well, we're just regular people. So she talks so much. She thinks she could talk her way out of everything. So what were you, and so this whole thing about, oh, it's raining men and blah, blah, blah. This is all her way of saying, look, I was doing so much other shit. I don't have time to Google how long to die in cold. We kid around. My fun sister, sometimes she has a little bit too much to drink because, we're just fucking fun like that. And, it's raining men and she's a little bit silly. And sometimes we play grab ass and sometimes we wrestle. And sometimes we just play it's raining men and we're just having a good time. She just loves the sound of her own voice, this woman. Insane.
it's like a big family joke. And my other nephew had previously been over and showed me the video from whenever, I don't know if it's the 1970s, of It's Raining Men. So I just was playing it, showing my other nieces and nephews, and we were just like laughing because they all have umbrellas, and it's just something, it's like an inside family joke. So I played that, I think, a couple of times.
And so after you get home and you're looking at the basketball program and things of that nature, what, if anything, else did you do before you went to bed or went to sleep?
Nothing. I possibly could have gotten up to go to the bathroom. I do that almost every night.
Oh, good. Now, thanks for sharing that.
At this time, you had an iPhone, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you also have an Apple Watch?
I did, yes.
You did, yeah.
Do you recall whether or not you were wearing the Apple Watch that evening or when you went to bed or anything like that?
I do not recall.
And as far as the Apple Watch is concerned, is that something that you routinely or always take off before you go to bed?
Mostly, but not always. I mean, there are times I go to bed with it on. More often than not, I take it off, but there are times that I do sleep with it.
And with respect to this particular evening, do you recall whether you had it on or whether you took it off or even had it on at all?
I don't recall if I had it on that night.
You don't recall.
Bring back to that last exhibit as far as
You
the
see
phone
why
call was
you see
concerned.
why she's asking that. I don't recall if I had it on that night because her Apple Health data shows that she's walking around a lot. Her heart rate's up. Again, we can bring this all up. We can go right to the court documents to see this shit. She is cut. That is a question Lally's prepping her for because they know that the defense is obviously going to bring this up, that she was awake. She never went to bed. A normal person after a day of drinking like this goes home and goes to bed. Not Jen McCabe. Her ass stayed up all night because she was on Karen Reed duty. She was on, like, if Karen Reed, you need to be ready for this shit. They didn't want Karen Reed to wake up. They went by that house again. Like when she dropped Sarah Levinson off, they went by Meadows Ave. They wanted to see if Karen Reed's ass was awake because they were nervous about that. And if Karen Reed wakes up, delay. How long to die in cold? They didn't want Karen to discover the body. They wanted Brian Albert to discover the body later on at like 8 in the morning because he'd be dead by then. They don't want Karen Reed finding him at 5:30. He might be alive. They need to make sure that, and so she was on Karen Reed duty. If Karen calls you ass, delay. That's your job, Jen. And she did it well. She did her job well. So, but again, the Apple Health data, let me pull this up. Let's look at this. Okay. Her Apple Health data. All right. Let's see. The iPhone was unlocked between 2:23 and 2:31. Text messages were sent at 2:25 and 2:25. 2 screenshots were deleted at 2:26. The search for how long to die in cold happens at 2:27. Right? But I want to talk about the Apple Health data. So it's John O'Keefe's phone, blah, blah, blah. All right, so here is the Celebrate search for how long to die in cold. See that Celebrate thing right there? That's Celebrate. That's the industry standard for data extraction from phones. It says right here. First of all, she did it on a private thing. How long to die in cold, 2:27 and 40 seconds. Deleted, yes. Does she do it again? Yep. She does it at 6:23, in which she tries to spell it. She tries to search it, hoping it will like kind of override the other one, right? And because she realized the one at 2:27, that was like, you know, that's going to get her in trouble. So she deletes it. And she's like, I'll do it again when we find the body. How long tie-dye and cucked? She's like, no, I misspelled that wrong. I got to spell it the exact same way. Hoss long to die in cold. And that way, when I get busted, we'll just, if they ever get busted for this shit, we're just going to say, no, I Googled it at 6:24 because Karen Reed told me to do it. If I Google it after the body's found, then the Google makes sense. 2:27, that's incriminating as shit. Like, you're done. You're cooked. It's over. But let's see the Apple Health data. That's what we're looking for here. Here's her whole call log when we did Canton Roulette. Look at all these calls she deleted. Why would you delete all of these calls? Only at the most critical time, which was, 5:30 a.m. to 9. She just deletes them all. This is John O'Keefe's phone. We get to that another time. I want to find her Apple Health data. So this is Jen McCabe's phone. Apple Health steps. Okay? Steps. Look at this, dude. She's taken, so she's like, I went to bed, went to the bathroom. Well, then at 3:50 to 3:51, her watch shows that she's walking around. She's walking around, right? What are you doing, Jen, at that hour of the night? Something. Your watch shows you walking around. And what do we have here? This is the distance she's walking around, I guess. Again, 3:51. She's walking around. Boom. What are you doing there, Jen? Why are you walking around? And what do we have here? This is her heart rate. Her heart rate. And this all comes from her watch. So she says she took the watch off. Didn't she just say that in the testimony? That she took the watch off when she went to bed? But the watch is still giving her heart rate shit. Right? 246. I mean, look at all through the night. It's giving her heart rate shit. And look when the heart rate explodes. At right after they find the body. Right? It's like, fuck. They're so nervous at this point. This is like peak, like, fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. But she's clearly doing shit. She's clearly moving around. She was clearly awake. And what is this? The Apple Health. What's this? Jen McCabe, Apple Health floors. I think this is like ascending and descending stairs. So that wouldn't be. If she stayed upstairs, then she wouldn't be ascending and descending stairs. This is John O'Keefe's phone. Okay. So you see the point here, right? Her Apple Health data, again, these people all with their freaking technology, they have all this technology showing all this shit. And they're just like, wasn't me. Life 360 data. Wasn't me. 222 call between Brian Haggins and Brian Albert. Butt dial. Wasn't me. Butt answer. Wasn't me. 607 and 608 call to Nicole Albert that says answered in last 7 and 9 seconds. Was me. Don't know how that got on there. Don't know. That's their plan for all this, is just like deny extremely incriminating forensic evidence from phones and just be like, nope, your expert is biased. You paid him off. That's the dastardly Karen Reed.
There certain phone calls that you made to Mr. O'Keefe's phone around the time that you were observing the vehicle outside?
Yes.
Do you recall making any phone calls to Mr. O'Keefe at that time?
I don't.
Say that at no point while you saw the vehicle outside, did you have any conversation with Mr. O'Keefe?
I didn't.
Now you go to sleep, and at some point later on in the morning, you wake up, correct?
Correct.
And what is it that wakes you up and when about was that?
I woken up to my phone ringing.
And do you know what time it was?
4:53.
And according to your phone, who was calling you at 4:53?
John's niece.
And so that would be John's niece, Kaylee, is that correct?
Correct.
And how old was she at this time?
I believe she was 14.
And she had just gotten into the Shaffian, correct?
Correct.
She was in 8th grade going in, finishing up her 8th grade.
Who cares, Lally?
Yes.
Is that a normal thing that Kaylee would be calling you at 4:53
No.
in the morning on Saturday?
No.
So you answer the call, is that correct?
Yes.
When you answer the call, who, if anyone, is initially on your?
Initially, it's Kaylee.
And what, if anything, did Kaylee say?
That John didn't come home and Karen and we wanted to talk to me.
And even in that initial call, when you're speaking to Kaylee, what, if anything, did you hear sort of in the background when you're talking?
Karen screaming.
And could you hear what she was screaming?
She was just screaming, Jen, Jen, Jen.
She was screaming, Jen, Jen. How much did they practice that? She's trying to make her sound crazy. By the way, this was not in any police reports that she heard her screaming on the phone. This is a new thing. Why would she be screaming that in the background of John's house? Jen, Jen. Why would that? Doesn't make any sense. She's just adding shit.
Fairly loudly, is that correct?
Extremely.
Now, At some point, does the defendant get on the phone with you?
She does.
And what, if any, conversation do you have with her then?
She proceeds to scream my name multiple times, and she tells me that John didn't come home, they got into a fight, and that she left him at the waterfall.
That John didn't get home. She got into a fight. None of this is in the police reports, by the way. None of it. She's just adding shit. They left him at the waterfall. Why would she add in that? Oh, unless who lives close to the waterfall? Chris and Julie Albert, right? So then the phone call to Julie Albert at 4:55 makes a little bit more sense now, doesn't it? Because wouldn't that be the first person that you called? If Karen Reed's telling you, oh, I dropped him off at the water. I don't even remember being at your house. She didn't say that. So she's like, oh, she told me, oh, she's saying that. Jen is saying that because it makes Karen sound so like blackout drunk, wasted. She doesn't even remember going there. She's wasted. She didn't remember shit. She probably ran him over. Doesn't even remember it. That's what she's trying to do here. And now it's like, okay, the waterfall's close to Chris Albert's house. She can be like, well, maybe John wandered over to his pal Chris's house. Because that's what Karen told. That's what she told me. But wait a minute. You saw the car, right? So why would you call Julie's house? How does that make sense? Nothing she says makes any sense.
And how do you respond?
I had just woken up. I was confused. I didn't know what she was talking about. I was like, what are you talking about? And then she, told me that they had gotten into a fight and she left him there. And now where is he? And she was just kept screaming my name over and over.
What?
And so then I remembered that Chris Albert had still been at the bar.
Here we go.
I thought, well, maybe John walked home with Chris because Chris lives close to the waterfall.
That's why she said it.
And so
she's mad. She has an excuse for the 4:55 call.
I told her that I was going to call Julie and see if John had ended up with Chris.
So you hang up with her, and then what did you do then?
I called Julie Albert.
And did you pick up the phone?
She did not.
And as you were calling Julie, did you have any conversation with your husband Matt around that time?
Yes. He, had kind of shot up out of bed when Karen had called. When Kaylee had called because Karen was screaming. And then he was, what's going on? And I said, well, I'm calling Julie because Karen, they got into a fight and I was trying to explain it to him. And he said, what are you talking about? We saw them outside of your sister's house. And at that point, I hung up.
And when you hung up, Julie had not answered yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, as far as Miss Reed, is that someone who had your phone number? Did you have her plugged into your phone as a contact before that date of January 29th?
No.
So never had any kind of conversation with her over the phone as far as a text or phone?
Karen again. And I say, Karen, we saw you outside of my sister's.
And what was her response to that?
She told me that she didn't remember going there. And then she started yelling, Jen. And then she was saying, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And then she proceeded to say that she had a cracked taillight.
What?
And this is while you're still in your home and you're in your bedroom, correct?
Correct.
And what was your response?
She's saying, okay, so she's saying this on the phone. So riddle me this, folks. So this is at 4:53 in the morning. She's calling Jen up. And she's telling her, Jen, I have a cracked taillight. Except there's just one problem with that. How would Karen Reed know she had a cracked taillight at 4:53? How would she know that? She didn't examine the car. She tells later on, she's telling about the cracked taillight at 5:30 when they come back. So she's telling you about it at 4:53 now? First of all, the taillight wasn't cracked until she crashes into or backs into John's Chevy Traverse at 5:07. It wasn't cracked at 4:53. But let's suppose it was. When did Karen Reed examine her car to see a cracked taillight? And why would she say that in the phone call to Jen? If she just ran him over, wouldn't that incriminate her? Why? This makes no sense. Jen just thinks she's so arrogant. She added so much unnecessary detail that's just going to get her caught. And dude, I'm telling you, Alan Jackson fucking big, like this weekend, like he's getting aroused watching this. He's just writing it all down. And you gave that man nothing a weekend. Alan Jackson doesn't work to live. Alan Jackson lives to work. That's why he's so good at his craft. That's why he has finely tailored suits. and a nice watch, and you know, it looks presentable. That's why people hire him from across the country, because he's addicted to his job. So he's been waiting for this. This is the biggest case of his career, and he's been waiting for this one. And then this is the main character of all the villains. And you just gave him 3 days to sit there and go through your testimony, Jen. You're fucked. You're fucked. I hope you bring that same arrogance with you on Tuesday. You're fucked. You talked way too much.
I thought she was honestly like just talking crazy. And then she said, oh my God, I left him there. Like she was extremely irrational. She said that it told me again that they had gotten into a fight. So now she was just kind of all over the place, just screaming. She was very hard to understand. So my brain started going, okay, well, if she left him there, where could he be? Who could he be with?
As you're going through that sort of process, what did you do next?
So then earlier in the night, there was another individual who we had been in contact with, or my husband had been talking to, and he had mentioned that he was going to meet up with John at Waterfall as well, but he never ended up coming. I knew he was at a house close to Fairview, so I thought, well, maybe if they got into a fight, like John might have texted this individual, and maybe he just ended up on his couch.
Tom.
Who's that individual?
Tom 𝗵𝗲.
So this is a lie. So Tom 𝗵𝗲 appears in her phone log at 5:33 and then 5:30, whatever. Okay, 3 times. She needs to explain why she's calling Tom 𝗵𝗲. Or maybe John went over there. Maybe John went there. No, she's calling Tom 𝗵𝗲 because she knows goddamn well that Aaron 𝗵𝗲 was called by Colin Albert at 12:33 a.m. and she's checking in on him. We all good, Tom? What's going on? What's Tom up to? Keeping an eye on him.
Who is Tom 𝗵𝗲 in relation to? How did you know?
He has 2 daughters that are the same age as my daughters.
One of those daughters, at least around the same age as Kaylee?
Yes.
And so, based on sort of that process, thought process, and what you do, what did you do next?
So then I started calling Tom.
And at any point in time, did you call Tom? Did Tom pick up the phone? Did you speak with him?
He did not.
And so, following that, what did you do?
So I know at some point I was starting to call John. My husband was as well. At that point, I get up and I'm like, okay, well, got to go out and look for him. And in my head, I was thinking I'll drive over to Tom's and maybe he's there. I then go downstairs. Matt gets up. He's starting to get dressed. I go downstairs. I make a coffee. And I'm not sure how much time passed. But then all of a sudden I hear screaming out front.
Screaming out front. This is new. This is new as well. Karen Reed goes to Country Hill Lane. Is that the name of the road she lives? I forget. Goes to her house and is just, Jen! Just standing out. Come on, Jen. Stop it. You didn't say this in any police reports. You're adding so much new shit.
For a second, as far as decade or so that you had known and been friends with John O'Keefe, with his either his niece or his nephew were both home. Is him not coming home? Is that something that had ever happened before? You were ever aware of before?
I was never.
Had John ever gone out at night and then not come home and killed?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So at some point you make your way downstairs, is that right?
Correct.
And then what, if anything, did you hear once you were downstairs?
Screaming.
And where was the screaming coming?
Out front.
And when you heard that screaming, where did you go?
I ran to my front door.
At some point, you opened your front door?
I opened my front door, correct.
And then what did you see when you opened the front door?
Miss Reed came running up my walkway.
Screaming.
Prior to, during any of the other conversations that you had with Miss Reed, did you know where she was when you were talking to her?
No.
Obviously, the first call was Kaylee calling from the house. That
Yes.
was and then subsequently.
Yes.
And as far as the second call that you were talking about, do you know where she was when she was talking to you then?
The first couple of calls, I know she was at the house, and then I don't know.
So, with opening your door, hearing the screaming from out front, was that something that surprised you?
Yes.
And when you hear the screaming, if you could just explain to the jury, how loud was the screaming that you heard?
Very loud.
And what, if anything, was she saying?
It was more of the Jen.
Oh my God.
Did I hit him? And then she would yell, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And then she was yelling, we have to go to Fairview.
We have to go to Fairview. Why would she say we have to go to Fairview if she just told you earlier that she didn't go to Fairview? That she went to the waterfall? That was the last time? Why would she say that? Jen! Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Why would she say that at that point? She dropped him off and he never came home. So where the fuck is he? Why would that stop it? This is new. He's never said this in any police reports.
Just
in a better way.
Yeah.
See a vehicle?
Yes.
And where was the vehicle and what did the vehicle look like?
It was in my driveway. I believe the driver door was left open.
And what kind of vehicle was it?
A black Lexus.
Consistent with what you had seen outside of Fairview the night or earlier in the morning?
Yes.
And so as she's coming up your walk toward your front door?
Running, yes.
And then what, if any, conversation did you have with her there in reference to that?
I just said, Karen, you know, I was trying to calm her down. Matt came, I believe, and was yelling down that she was going to wake up the neighborhood. And then she was yelling that we had to go to Fairview. So I told Matt that I was going to go with Karen.
Initially, before that, what were your plans as far as going to look for John before Miss Reed showed up?
My husband and I were going to go to 𝗺𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗄𝗏.
Now,
so Karen showed up uninvited. That's the new thing she's saying, that you were going to go to 𝗺𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗏's house. You and Matt were going to jump in the car and go to 𝗺𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗏's house. And then Karen shows up on your lawn and you're like, well, I got to deal with this woman.
Once you decide that now you're going with Miss Reed, the defendant, where did the two of you go?
So as we walked out, there was a car pulled up and then a plow.
Not the car pulled up?
No.
I'm sorry. So the car pulls up and then the plow, and then what happened?
So in the car was 𝗵𝗵 Roberts. And so she kind of rolled down the window and was like, Karen, what are you doing? And then the plow was behind her. So 𝗵𝗵 pulled up and I believe I told Karen that I was going to drive her car because I didn't want her driving because she was hysterical. So we got in her car and then 𝗵𝗵 Roberts called Karen. And then Karen was screaming and, you know, saying that she had cracked her taillight. We need to go to Fairview. Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? And then she would just scream our names. 𝗵𝗵 was telling her to shut up, that we needed to just go back to John's and we'll drive in one car and let's go to John's. Maybe he's there and he's passed out and you didn't see him.
The real reason they went back to Meadows is to delay, because she knows that he was only left out there, not that, like maybe 3:30, not enough time. How long to die in snow? How long to die in cold? Came back. She didn't like the search results on that one. It was like 3 hours. She's like, fuck, got to delay here. So even in her story, they sound like cunts, telling a hysterical woman to shut up. I mean, she's talking about her taillight. She keeps offering this up about the goddamn taillight, not like, which she hasn't seen yet. When did she examine her taillight? When did that happen?
When you open up the door initially and you come outside and you see the defendant out there screaming and all that. Again, with respect to the weather, what was the weather at that?
It was like dark and it was almost like a whiteout.
And so you get into Ms. Reed's vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And you're driving that vehicle from your house to Meadows Ave, is that correct?
Yes.
That's Ms. 𝗄𝗏𝗄𝗏's house?
Yes.
You're familiar with that residence? You've been there plenty of times before?
Yes.
Now, with respect to 𝗵𝗵 Roberts, did you know 𝗵𝗵 Roberts prior to this morning of January 29th?
I had met her once before.
And can you describe to the jury sort of the circumstances of that, or how you knew her prior to January 29th?
Way back when, after John's sister bought sneakers for all my girls and me. And then he took Carrie and I to the hillside for lunch just to thank him for, you know, helping, because that's what he did.
Oh, look at this shit.
Now, was 𝗵𝗵 Roberts someone that you had as contact saved in your phone? Had you ever texted her or called her or talked to her over your phone before?
No.
So you indicated that Ms. Roberts then calls Ms. Reed's phone while you're in Ms. Reed's car, correct?
Yes.
Now, as far as that, Ms. Reed's phone, was that similar to your phone that earlier in the morning? Was that hooked up in any way or matched or paired with the vehicle that you were driving?
Yes.
So fair to say you could hear both sides of the conversation as far as Ms. Reed talking next to you and then obviously Ms. Roberts on the other end?
Yes.
So the conversation that you were talking about as far as Ms. Roberts saying, shut up and we're going to Meadows Ave and all that, you could hear Ms. Roberts saying that?
Yes.
Now, the vehicle, when you
how could she hear
get
that?
into the defendant's vehicle, she pulled in straight into your driveway, is that correct?
Yes.
So fair to say you had to back out of the driveway, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you were operating Ms. Reed's vehicle in reverse, what, if anything, showed up in sort of the center console area of that vehicle?
I do not remember. I don't know.
Do you recall anything as far as the camera or anything like that?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
You back the vehicle out of the driveway, you see to Meadows Ave, correct?
Yes.
And about how long a drive is it from your house to Ms. 𝗄𝗏𝗄𝗏's?
Approximately 5-6 minutes.
And when you get to Ms. 𝗄𝗏𝗄𝗏's house, where do you park?
I pull in straight in the driveway.
And after you pull into the driveway, at some point you all get out, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall who pulled in first as far as who was in front of who on the way to Meadows, yourself or Ms. Roberts?
I believe I was in front.
You would have pulled in the driveway and parked, and Ms. Roberts would have pulled in and parked behind, correct?
Yes.
So they pull in first. Karen Reed pulls in first, or she pulls in first. We'll drive in Karen's car. Carrie, who has been following them and would have presumably seen this broken taillight the whole time, comes in after them.
After the three of you get out of your respective vehicles, what happened?
Karen brings us to the back of the car and she says, look, see, I have a cracked taillight.
Karen brings them to the back of the car and says, look, see, I have a cracked taillight.
And where on the vehicle was she directing yourself and Ms. Roberts' attention?
The back right.
To the back
Passenger
right.
Side, rear part of the vehicle.
Yes.
And when you looked at that area of the vehicle, what could you see about it?
I saw that there were missing pieces, but there was also snow covering it. And
So she examined the back right. Again, we've been over this. She examined the back right taillight.
Karen was screaming, look, look. And then Kerry was screaming back at her. It was very chaotic.
It was
So I
chaotic.
didn't stare in depth, but what I can tell you is I saw missing pieces from the taillight.
So again, that's her story. What were they thinking? What were they thinking knowing that they were about to show this fucking video? Like, what were they thinking?
Screen within month Exhibit 6 or video from Exhibit 6, you recognize what's depicted in this video?
I do.
What do you recognize?
That's myself getting out of the car at Meadows Ave.
Is that essentially where you parked Ms. Reed's vehicle when you pulled in?
Yes.
If you could, just direct the jury's attention with a laser pointer as to where Ms. Reed's vehicle is, if you parked in, if you see Ms. Roberts' vehicle.
That is Miss Reed's, and that would be Miss Roberts.
And as far as the right garage door that you mentioned in the house, if you could direct the jury's attention to whereabouts that would, I know it's not on the video, but where would it be?
Rock Street.
Here we go.
So if you could run this.
Like, bro, what? Why would you play that tape, Adam Lally? She just said something 10 minutes earlier that is completely contradictory to what just happened on that tape. She said she got out, she examined, like she kept showing us. Jen talks too fucking much. She is going to ruin this. She ruined it by searching at 227. Brian Albert's the brains of the operation. I cannot believe Brian Albert doesn't have this bitch on a leash. Brian Albert, what the fuck is wrong with you? Put your hoe on a leash. This bitch needs to shut the fuck up, Brian. What are you thinking? What are you thinking letting her talk like this? How have you not like smacked her around and been like, shut the fuck up? Stop being weird. Stop going to fucking court dates with that weird thing on your face. You look like a fucking psycho. Stop it. Stop being fucking nuts for once in your fucking life. Be like me. Disappear. Keep a low profile. Chill out. Chill the fuck out. She can't do it. She ruined this whole thing. She ruined the whole thing. Even Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel, who could fucking turn on you in 5 seconds, kept their fucking mouth shut. Not Jen McCabe, though. She just John, shut the. Oh, this couldn't have gone any better. For the idiots out there that think that this was like, oh, she was very credible. That's because you're fucking stupid and you have no idea what's coming. You're about to find out that she is the exact opposite of credible. She is not credible at all, and she's extremely arrogant, which is her ultimate undoing.
Door.
Sometimes you open your front door.
I opened my front door. Say that she had a cracked taillight. Irrational. She said that it told me again that they had gotten into a fight. So now she was just kind of all over the place, just screaming. She was very hard to understand. So my brain started going, okay, well, if she left him there, where could he be? Who could he be with?
Yeah, here comes the
As you're going through that sort of process, what did you do next?
So then earlier in the night, there was another individual who we had been in contact with, or my husband had been talking to, and he had mentioned that he was going to meet up with John at Waterfall as well. He never ended up coming. I knew he was.
With respect to the weather, what was the weather vehicle when you?
So snow covering it, and
which side of the photograph would the driveway be? The left. Mr. O'Keefe, as far as how he kept things around his house, either in the house or things around.
John was very meticulous. Everything had its place.
Now, when you arrived there on the morning of the 29th, Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle wasn't parked in that position, correct?
Correct.
For the outside of the residence, you go in through the garage door and then you go into the house, correct?
Yes.
And so you take it.
I looked in the TV room where there is a couch. Then I kind of walked through a dining room, and then I peeked into a living room. I went upstairs. I looked in John's room.
Yeah, didn't see him. This is all the delay. Everything she's describing right now is the delay. She looked all around the house. She's just wasting time. She knows exactly where John is. And she's like, fuck, I cannot bring her back there.
Carrie was also running around different rooms. And then I went into Kaylee's room.
And during this time when you and Ms. Roberts were sort of going around room to room, what was the defendant?
I'm not sure.
Did you see her doing the same thing that you were doing?
No.
Now, with respect to when it at least peeked into John's bedroom, is that right?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you know about the bed when you looked?
It was made.
Yeah, because she's.
So then you go into Kaylee's room and check on her, right?
Yes.
And at any point in time, did you see Patrick at any point?
No.
And were you aware of where Patrick was, or did you know at that point?
At that point, I believe Kaylee told me he was at a sleepover.
So you have some conversation with Kaylee, is that right?
Yes.
And about how long a conversation did you have with Kaylee?
Probably about a few minutes.
And when you left with Kaylee, what is it that you said to her as you were?
Look, here come the fake tears.
I promised Kaylee.
Oh my God, look at this.
I promised Kaylee that I would find John and everything was going to be okay.
Fuck you. That is evil right there. Evil. I promised Kaylee everything was going to be okay. We're going to find John. However much you hate Jennifer McCabe, I assure you it's not enough. Jen, I know you're watching. I know you're watching Turtleboy right now. You can't get enough of that shit. You want me to stop? I'm never going to stop. Just understand that. You're evil incarnate. And yeah, you tried to get that order on me. You failed. And your boys at the state police, they jammed me up and they gave me a charge. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Bitch, I hope you like prison. Because that's exactly where you're going. But prison is the least of your problems. Because there's a place called hell. And you are going to spend eternity there. Don't worry, though. It'll only feel like an eternity. Okay? But you're going to stay there forever. Because you have no fucking soul. You're exploiting this kid story about this. We were going to... I mean, look how quick she snapped out of that. Just look at this. This is psychotic. Sociopath.
And about how long a conversation did you have with Kaylee?
Probably about a few minutes.
And
so look at
when
this.
you left with Kaylee, what is it that you said to her as you were?
Look at her. She's already looking to the side about like, okay, I'm going to bring it on right now. Can I cry now? Ready? When do I cry? When do I get to cry?
I promise.
I promise.
Kaylee?
Look at, she's looking at the jury when she says, I promise. Kaylee? Oh, look at that. I promise, Kaylee. That. But watch how quick she snaps out of it.
I promised Kaylee that I would find John and everything was going to be okay.
Promised.
Then where did the three of you go?
After that, the three of us got in the car and we drove to Fairview.
Oh yeah, she's okay.
And when you say you got into the car, which car did you get?
Harry's.
Fake ass cunt, lying, evil devil bitch. Oh, that's a good question. Well, no, she did go upstairs. I don't doubt she went upstairs in John's house.
Again, showing you a few photographs. Again, if you could just look at those and look up and finish.
Yeah, her Apple Health data does show her ascending stairs at 532. So that's at John's house.
Do you recognize what's in those photographs?
Yes.
And what do you recognize those?
Karen's car.
Correct.
And in sort of focus here is the right rear.
Okay, so we're gonna fast forward to past this part, and then
the street lights. It's.
You see the rear passenger side tail light. It's going to be
no.
Now,
Karen's
you then
test.
Yourself, the defendant, and Ms. Roberts then get into Ms. Roberts' vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Who seated where within Ms. Roberts' vehicle as you're going from Meadows Ave? What was the plan and where were you going sort of first when you left Meadows Ave?
We were going to Fairview.
And why were you going to Fairview?
Because Karen kept screaming, we need to go to Fairview.
Now, who was seated where within the vehicle when you did?
Carrie was driving, I was in the passenger seat, and Karen was in the back.
And what were the lighting conditions at this point that you're driving over there?
It was hard to see out the window. You really had to be kind of staring out. It was dark. The snow was coming out the car.
And as you're making that drive, as Ms. Roberts was making.
No, because to me that was
And look at the way they would show Karen staring at you. I've never seen her stare like this during the whole thing. I mean, she looks, this is just like not even an angry stare. This is just like a, bitch, you're fucking evil stare, like staring at her. And it's just like, how the fuck can anybody be this evil? How could fucking anybody do this to another person? To John, to John's kids, to Karen? How the fuck can anybody be this evil? Julie Nagel was the blob. Julie Nagel was the blob. Okay.
Crazy idea. And then Carrie had mentioned, oh, do you think he could have called somebody else that lived on a street over? And she started.
So you're looking around outside of the vehicle as the vehicle is going down towards Fairview, is that correct?
Yes.
And you recall how it was that Ms. Roberts came about coming to Fairview, similar to the night before? Did she come in from the Chapman side or from the Cedar Crest side?
Chapman.
And as the vehicle turns from Chapman onto Fairview, what, if any, conversation was going on at that point?
Well, Bella lives on that street, so that was when that conversation was being had. Also, just a continuation. It was just like continuous screaming of our names, Carrie screaming at her to sit back, and then sometimes she would sit back and almost like be quiet for a minute, and then it would start all over again.
So this is about Ashley Brady, who she's now dragging into the story. If you're unfamiliar with Ashley Brady, I'll bring her story up here. Can't cover up. Hold on. All right. So this is Ashley Brady. Ashley Brady is a chick who John O'Keefe stuck it to a couple times, I think. And prior to Karen Reed, just another basic house bitch of Canton. And she first came on my radar in part 41 when people were donating to Karen. Okay. And people like talking about the donations. This guy takes an $8,000 fee. Yep. Awesome. Okay. And this is her. Okay. Now let me pull this up. So this is her stupid son, Cam Sanchez, who came at me on Twitter and said he couldn't wait to piss and shit on my grave. Okay. That's nice. There he is. And oh, there he is. And then this is Ashley Brady in court. She is the one sitting right here. Jen is sitting next to her, rubbing this girl, Laura Sullivan, who barely knew John and is crying there, sitting there crying, rubbing her shoulder. Oh, it's okay. And Ashley Brady sitting there staring ahead. Okay. And Ashley Brady's a fucking idiot. There she is. She, blah, blah, blah. And she obviously raised a piece of shit son, who, you know, you can afford, keep preying on the weak bitch. Can't wait till your jail wallet gets filled up with tootsies. Y'all are scum of the earth. Taliban supporters. Only fat fucks eat dominoes. Okay. You couldn't even pick corn out of my shit. Oh, there's Proctor. Okay. Pedophile, all sorts of shit. Okay. So this is who they're talking about. She lives near Fairview. I think she lives on or near Fairview Road. And what Jen's trying to do here is come up with this is all new, by the way. None of this is in any reports. Again, this woman loves to talk too much. And she's trying to come up with a way to explain like motive here. Like, oh, Karen's mad. She's so jealous of Ashley Brady because she boned John a couple years ago. Oh, yeah. Karen's really worried about that. Yeah, sure she was. Right.
Now, as you were coming down Fairview Road, what, if anything, were you saying to Ms. Roberts, did Ms. Roberts know where she was going as far as where your sister lived?
No, I told her that my sister lived at the bottom. And then as we got closer, I said, you know, just past, see where those trees are. Just past the trees is my sister's house.
As you got in that area of the sort of trees, from the residence of your sister at 34 Fairview Road, trees that you're talking about, where are they in relation to the property?
They're at the start of the property is the trees, and then their property begins.
And so the flagpole area and fire hydrant that you were talking about in earlier exhibits, is that in the same area as the trees?
Yes, a little. It goes the trees, and then the fire hydrant. You know, then further up is the fire hydrant and the flagpole.
As you're coming down Fairview now, approaching 34 Fairview, the house would be on which side of the vehicle, on the driver's side or the passenger side?
The driver's side.
And as you approach that area where trees and flagpole and fire hydrant were, what if anything happens then?
We drive past the flagpole area, and all of a sudden Karen starts screaming, there he is, and she's banging to get out.
And banging on the door in the backseat?
Yes.
And at the time that she's saying this, were you able to see anything outside of the vehicle?
I saw nothing.
And what, if anything, when she's banging and kicking or banging on the door, what did Miss Roberts do?
Miss Roberts unlocked the door. Karen got out. Miss Roberts looked at me and said something like, she's crazy or she's batshit crazy, something like that.
Who the fuck? I mean, even if their story is true, why would you say that? She's batshit crazy? Why wouldn't she be crazy? Why aren't you crazy right now? This is a normal human reaction to finding your dead boyfriend. And they're like, yo, this bitch is crazy. She needs to take a chill pill and just relax a little bit. What? She just saw her boyfriend. She just found her boyfriend's dead body. And you're like, man, bitches be crazy. Am I right, Carrie? Yeah, that girl needs to chill out, relax.
And when the defendant gets out of the vehicle, where is it that she goes?
She just runs.
And runs away?
Straight to John.
And again, when she's running, at this point in time, can you see what she's running toward or where she's going or anything that she's talking about?
I was on the passenger side. So as I got out, she was already at John.
So she gets out and essentially makes a beeline over to where John was.
Correct.
And you're getting out of the passenger side, and by the time you come around the car, she's already there.
Yes.
And when she gets over there, what if anything could you see at that?
She straddles John and she lifts up his shirt, and then she lifted up her shirt and went to lay on him. And Miss Roberts went over and she was removing the snow from his face.
Let me take a step back from that just for a moment. In Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask to publish just a portion of what's been marked as Exhibit 12.
Yeah, and then he shows, like, this is the most pointless shit. He shows Officer 𝗃𝗏𝗄's entire journey to Fairview Road. And he's like, that's Cassie's corner store. Because we give a shit about that. Like, Lally loves wasting time.
Yes.
And he's coming up.
Again, this is the like, you could easily, like, look at his lights. Of course you would see a body there. If you were looking for something.
On the roadway there, do you recognize that?
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
Miss Roberts.
Miss Roberts. Now, Ms. McCabe, if I could just take you back to when you arrived there. Ms. Reed goes over to Mr. O'Keefe. Ms. Roberts, what is it that you were doing at that time?
I got out of the car and I came around, and for a second or two, I completely just froze. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then Carrie and I made eye contact, and I called 911. And Carrie was asking me to go to the car and she was yelling to get towels or blankets or something out of the back of her car.
Yeah, we heard.
Why the back of the car is opened up in the video that we just saw in reference to Ms. Roberts' vehicle?
Yes.
Did she direct you to where to go within the vehicle to find the blankets, towels, whatever it was?
Yes.
You called 911, you spoke to the operator and told them essentially where you were, correct?
Yes.
Now, as far as that initial, what you saw, that you froze and couldn't believe what you saw, can you describe to the jury what it was that you saw?
There we
I
go.
saw Carrie wiping the snow off of John's face, and I could not believe that was John laying there.
And how was John positioned, or how was his body positioned when you saw him?
He was just laying flat on his back.
Here we go. Look at this
And
bitch.
as far as the
Look at this cunt. Look at it.
snow, Ms. Roberts was wiping off his face. Was there any other snow on his body at that time?
Yes.
If you know about
There was enough that his body was covered in snow.
Oh my God.
and could you tell at that point how far Mr. O'Keefe was from the roadway as far as Fairview Road was concerned?
I mean, I remember kind of a little ways in. I don't know exactly.
And so you make that call to 911, and what is sort of going on with respect to Ms. Roberts, the defendant, and Mr. O'Keefe, while you're on that 911?
So I run the blankets over to Miss Roberts, and she's kind of lifts him up, put the blankets underneath him, and she's screaming at Miss Reed to get off of Mr. O'Keefe. And they're kind of yelling back and forth. Karen's screaming, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" I, at some points, walk over towards the car, Carrie's car, to get away because they're so loud. And I was trying to be calm and get help there for John as fast as possible.
That's why you were being
Carrie starts
calm.
yelling about doing CPR. She tells Karen to do mouth to mouth. Karen's yelling because as they start, blood starts coming out of John's mouth.
As far as the CPR, that's what you're talking about?
Yes.
So during this time, the defendant's yelling and you're on the phone with 911, correct?
Yes.
You're trying to back up or distance yourself a little bit so that you can hear what's going on with the 911 operator and they can hear you.
Yes.
And after you complete that 911 call, what's going on with that?
I go over, and at that point, Carrie asks if I can take over doing the compressions.
And did you do that?
I did, yes.
And at some point after you call 911, do either police or fire or someone responds and arrives on scene, is that correct?
Yes.
You know about how much time it was in between when you hung up with 911 and when the first responders started to arrive?
When I hung up, maybe a few minutes. I'm not exactly sure.
You called your sister too.
Do you recall whether or not it was police or fire or who showed up first?
Police.
And is that the officer that was in that video or that cruiser that was just up on the screen as last?
I didn't see the officer, in the video, but I know it was Officer Sarif was the first officer to arrive.
So then, after the officer arrives, what happened?
He was trying to figure out what had happened. Karen just ran around screaming my name, Carrie's name. Is he dead? Is he dead? It was on repeat. Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? More officers started to arrive.
Could I hit him?
The EMTs, they began to work on him.
And while by him you mean Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Keefe's still on the ground and they're working on him there, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you see anything about what they were doing or what?
Why didn't you go in the house?
No, I just saw a bunch of them around Mr. O'Keefe.
And then what happened?
More officers began to arrive. And Miss Reed just continued to run around screaming. As more officers and EMT arrived, they asked what happened. One EMT asked, one EMT had asked, his name, his age, things like that. If she knew what happened, Miss Reed stated that she hit him. Besides running around saying, I hit him, did I hit him, could I have done this? Is he dead? Is he dead? At one point, one of the police officers
Although she never said that in any statements. Jen, none of her statements does Jen ever say that Karen said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Her statements say that Karen said, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? But she never says I hit him. The only one who says that is Katie McLaughlin. Now she knows that Katie McLaughlin has testified this, so she feels emboldened to add this to her story.
Miss Reed in the back of her cruiser, and he asked for myself to go over with her, and Carrie came over with us as well.
I'd like to just take you back to when the paramedic is asking for information, biographical information, things like that. You indicated that the defendant said, I hit him, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that something that you said once or more than once?
3 times. I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Oh, she's just...
Or you had made reference to statements she made with sort of qualifiers or questions as far as could I have hit him or did I hit him? Is that what she said at that time when she was speaking to the paramedic?
No, she was earlier. It was could I, did I? When she spoke to the paramedic, it was crystal clear. I hit him.
Oh, why didn't you mention that in any police reports? Why?
One of the officers takes her over to the back of her cruiser, is that right?
Yes.
You were over in that area as well?
Yes.
Who, if anyone else, was over in that area?
Miss Roberts.
And while you were over in that area, what was going on over there?
We were in the back of the police cruiser.
That's new to me too.
Sitting in there, I kind of scooched myself in. Miss Roberts came over. Karen grabbed our hands. She asked us to pray. She looked at her hands and she had blood. She asked us if she could have gotten her period. We told her no, that was John's blood. Then she said, what if he's dead? Promise me you'll take care of the kids.
Why would she have her period? Is she touching herself? Why would she think she had her period? Like, oh my God, they're just trying to make her sound crazy. That's what this all is.
Someone's gonna take
and like the whole like come together and pray. You saw in those videos, Karen Reed multiple times tells Jen to get the fuck away from her. Jen tries to hug her, pushes her away. Now she's joining a prayer circle with the devil herself. Stop it.
Care of the kids. Then we prayed. Then at the end, they were moving John, and at that point, Karen told Kerry, go over, look, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? Over and over. And Kerry said, I'll go over and check on him. And she was yelling, are they working on him? And then at that point, she grabbed my hands and she said, Google hypothermia, Google how long it takes to die in the cold. And so I had my phone out and it was cold and my hands were frozen and I have MS, and I took my phone out while she was screaming and shaking my arm, and I
talks too much and I have MS. She told me Google hypothermia. Like there's first responders everywhere, and she's like, Google hypothermia. Jen, Google this for me. She needs an excuse. This woman talks way too fucking much.
attempted to Google how long does it take to die in the cold.
And when you conducted that search, that was at the defendant's request on scene sometime after 6 a.m. on that day, correct?
Yes.
Recall whether or not that came up as far as you're searching Google. Is it something that you typed once or more than once?
I believe I did it multiple times because as I was typing it, I don't know what else was coming up. She was screaming. My hands were shaking.
And do you recall anything as far as what the search results were, or did you click on anything, or did you get an answer to the question the defendant posed to you?
I don't even think I got an answer because as I kept Googling and she kept yelling, and then they were moving John. And the next thing I knew, we were kind of moving because she wanted.
Because as they were moving John was gone. John had been moved by 624. It's on the dash cam video. She turns her back to John. I believe that's at like 6. Somebody can double check this. If it's like 6:15. He's put on the gurney and brought into the ambulance. They don't just leave him out there for 20 minutes. So listen to the timing here. Listen to this lie. This is an easily disprovable lie.
Or did you click on anything, or did you get an answer to the question the defendant posed to you?
I don't even think I got an answer because as I kept Googling and she kept yelling, and then they were moving John. And the next thing.
And then they were moving John while she was Googling. She Googles it at 6:24. John was gone by 6:24. She just fucked up right there. There's video of John being put on into the ambulance.
I knew we were kind of moving because she wanted to see if they were working on him.
So you were moving along with the defendant over towards where Mr. O'Keefe was gone to the back of the ambulance?
Yes, we kind of just moved to see what was going on.
When you moved over, what did you see then?
They were just putting him in the back of the ambulance.
They were just putting him in. We
Now,
saw
after
a video of
Mr.
him
O'Keefe
being
was
put in.
put into the back of the ambulance. Where did you go then? What did you do?
At that point, different police officers, I believe, were arriving, and they were asking questions about what happened.
And did you speak to those officers?
I did, yes.
And at that point, did you know what happened?
No, to be honest, it was like I was there, but everything was just going on, and I was completely just in a state of shock and disbelief.
Look at
that
her.
sort of period there. How long did that go
on? So I talked to a few officers. We tried to just give them, he didn't come home. We went out looking for him, kind of just the brief overview. And then one of the police officers asked me to go into the house and to wake up my sister and my brother-in-law.
The police had to ask you to go in the house? Why didn't you just go in? The door's unlocked, right? You knew that? Go wake him up? You had to be asked that? That's not like one of the first things you do?
And at some point while you were outside, did you try to contact your sister and your brother-in-law?
I believe I called my sister, Nicole.
And when was that in relation to everything as far as medically that was going on with Mr. O'Keefe and all?
I think I might have called her right after I got off with 911 possibly. And then
I think you know exactly what the call logs shows, Jen. I think I might have called her. You bitch, you know what the call logs say. You've been over this a million times. Don't act like it's like, oh, maybe I called her. You called her at 6:07 and it's 6:08 and the call says answered. And your sister just said it wasn't me. She pulled the shaggy. It wasn't me. I didn't answer that.
She didn't answer, and that's when I was walking over, I believe, to John.
And she didn't answer the call when you called her initially?
No.
Do you recall calling either your sister Nicole or your brother-in-law Brian Albert prior to going into the house?
I don't recall.
Like, why didn't she call her sister on the way to 34 Fairview Road saying, we're coming. Can you check outside? Like, she didn't call her sis. We're on the way to her house and you didn't call her on the way. You weren't driving. Why wouldn't you call your sister?
I know I did call Nicole at one point. I'm not sure if I called Brian or not.
regardless of if you called or you didn't call, you recall having any sort of phone conversation with either Nicole or Brian Albert before you went in the house?
No.
So you at least called your sister Nicole, she didn't answer, and then one of the officers directed you to wake them up.
Yes.
And when you went up to the house at 34 Fairview, how did you get in?
The front door.
And front door was unlocked?
Yes.
Is that typical from your experience at that residence?
Yes.
And so you went to the house, and where did you go?
I went up the stairs to their bedroom.
And the bedroom door, when you arrived there, was it open or closed or something?
It's closed.
And you opened it?
Yes.
And when you opened it, who, if anyone, did you see in the room, and what were they doing?
I saw my sister and Brian, and they were both asleep.
And you familiar with a dog that they have?
Yes.
What was the dog's name?
Chloe?
Was Chloe in the bedroom as well at that time?
I don't recall.
You come in, they're both sleeping, and what happened then?
I go over to the bed, and I'm calling out their names.
And how long were you calling out their names before you got any kind of response?
Brian responded first, and he was very, startled and looked at me like, what is going on? Nicole took a little, I think it took Nicole a little bit longer than Brian to wake up.
Sorry, I was muted. The dog doesn't bark at you when you go in the room. You don't even remember the dog's there. Nicole's like taking a while to get up, whatever. I mean, dude, who's believing this? Again, she talks too much.
And what is it that you're telling them as you're coming into the room and they're waking up?
I'm telling them that we just found John out front. And I could have possibly said, John has died. We just found John out front. They were very confused. At one point, I think Brian was like, who's John? I mean, they just woken up and they had no idea what I was talking about.
Who's John?
Now, as far as when they're first waking up and you're explaining to them, how would you describe sort of their demeanor as you're talking?
They were both shocked. I think they thought, like, why? Okay.
But what I'm asking them is just sort of when you observe them, how would you describe your physical observations of what they look like, their demeanor in that?
Shocked, confused, not understanding.
Strike the last one.
Now, as far as this conversation that you're having with your sister and your brother-in-law in their bed, how long was that going on for?
A few minutes, at least.
And then following that, where did you go?
They got up, got dressed, and then we walked down the stairs.
And when you got to the bottom of the stairs, what, if anything, did you see when you got?
There was a police officer at the bottom of the stairs.
And do you know who that police officer is?
Yes, Officer Lank.
At that time, did you know who that police officer was?
I did, yes.
How did you know?
He's from Canton. He was, 5 years older than me. I knew him kind of growing up, who he was, and met him through the years.
Of course
you're aware of who he was?
Yes.
And were there any other officers with him initially?
No.
I agree with that.
Before you go into the house, do you know where
Chloe wasn't
Roberts
there.
and the defendant were, or what they were doing when you went to the house?
I believe they put Karen in a car, and
Only if you know.
Okay.
If you know, do you know?
Karen was in a car. Kerry was walking all around.
Now, as far as the ambulance with Mr. O'Keefe, at the time that you go into the house, was that ambulance still there?
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it had left.
And when you come downstairs with your sister and your brother-in-law, and your officer's there, you have a conversation, is that correct?
Yes.
Where did that first conversation occur?
In the hallway, and then into the kitchen.
And from there, you mentioned that there was Officer Lank at one point. Were there any other officers that joined that conversation at some point?
Hours later, yes.
And so during that initial conversation, you're talking to the officer.
Brian and Nicole.
Oh.
Yes, the officer asked him to step outside or step to the side, and they spoke.
And then what happened then?
The officer told me to stay.
Told you to stay.
The officer told me to stay with his parents.
I'll stay.
Coming to talk to me.
And so you stayed at the house at 34 Fairview, is that right?
Yes.
You know where Ms. Roberts and the defendant were?
Yes, Carrie came up and she had told me that she.
Not what she told you.
Not what she told you.
At some point, did you see Ms. Roberts and the defendant go?
Yes, to pick up John's parents.
I'll stay.
And as far as they left in Ms. Roberts' car, is that right?
Correct.
Ms. Roberts was again driving?
Correct.
And at some point, did you observe them come back to the house?
Yes.
About how long was it between the time they left and the time they came back?
5 minutes, approximately.
And after they came back to the house, what, if any, other activity did you see outside as far as first response?
I was in the house, so I didn't see Miss Roberts pull back up.
You were in the house for most of the rest of the time that you were there, is that correct?
Correct.
How long were you there that morning waiting for the safety?
I believe I left approximately 11:30. Albert.
Now, with reference to when 𝗤𝗄𝗏 arrived,
Julie Albert gets there.
at some point around that time, did you have occasion to look out and see sort of what was going on outside?
No,
Were you aware whether or not there were any police or fire or anything that was still there at the time when Miss Julie Albert arrived?
there wasn't.
And she comes in the house, and at some point,
With the
I'm assuming she's
donuts.
informed of what had transpired there before her arrival, right?
Yeah, yes.
And when she's informed of that, what, if anything, did you observe about her demeanor or how she reacted?
Shocked.
So some people have asked TV, don't a dog bark at you when you went to Easton? Yes. Tristan and Caitlin have a German Shepherd, an aggressive, loud German Shepherd that actually we got Instagram pictures of. And I heard the dog when I went to their house. The dog is not 𝗀𝗏, if that's what you're getting at. Because the dog, I've seen pictures of the dog. It's got a different hair color pattern. It's not 𝗀𝗏. A lot of people have asked about that. It's not 𝗀𝗏.
Now, in addition to Julie Albert, who, if anyone else, was at the house that morning while you were there?
Officer Lang and Gallagher were there. And Brian Higgins was also came that morning.
Okay.
Came back with another officer named Gallagher, is that right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and
Yes. He had told me if there's anything that you remember, once, if you remember anything, please, give me a call.
and so there was something that you remembered, and you gave him a call.
Yes.
And when he came back to the house, what was it that you told
This
him?
is Lank.
I told him about the comments and the remarks that Karen Reed had been stating that morning.
So she just remembered 3 hours later that Karen Reed said all this "I hit him" bullshit. And Karen Reed, by the way, so she, after having 3 hours to speak with her co-conspirators and get their story together, she suddenly remembered this stuff, calls Lank back, tells him this really incriminating thing Karen Reed said. Karen Reed can't defend herself or anything like that because Karen Reed is involuntarily sectioned at the hospital. Okay.
And specifically, what type of remarks are you referring to that you told Officer Lank when he came back?
I said that she told one of the EMTs that she hit him.
Now, at some point, you indicated that you left the house at.
She never says that, by the way, in her reports, that she told one of the EMTs that she hit him. That does not appear in any reports. Nothing. All it says is that Karen said it to her on the way over. Could I have hit him?
Right?
Yes.
And with your husband, I presume?
Yes.
And where did the two of you go?
We went home.
And your children were still there without either you or your husband there, is that correct?
Yes.
And once you arrived back home, what is it that you did at that?
We went in the house and Officer Proctor was coming over to speak with us.
And that Officer Proctor, is that someone that you knew previously or had ever met?
I'd never met Officer Proctor.
And did he come alone or was he with someone?
He had another officer with him.
You know who that officer is?
Yes, 𝗫𝗏.
And have you ever met 𝗫𝗏?
No.
When you get home, about how long was it at the time from when you arrived home with your husband to the time that the officers from the state police came out?
It was pretty quick.
Now, in addition to the officers from the state police, did anybody else come over to your house on that day, late morning, early afternoon?
Yes, my brother-in-law, Brian.
And you know why he came over there?
Yes, he came over. I had asked him, he's like a big brother to me, and I was all shaken up and nervous and overwhelmed, and so I wanted his support.
And he obliged and he came over, correct?
Yes.
Now, at some point after the officers from the state police came over, you spoke to them, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you recall where in your home you spoke to them?
In my dining room.
And when you spoke to them, was it both of the...
So Brian came over her house because she needed the support. He's like a big brother. He's like a big brother to me. Comes over.
The officers that were present?
Yes.
And was there anybody else present in the dining room when you were talking?
No.
And as far as your husband or your brother-in-law, Brian, do you know where in the house they were when you were in the dining room?
Yes, they were in my bedroom.
Oh, they were in
At some
my...
point later on that day.
They were not interviewed as a group. Matt and Brian were like, let's just go upstairs and play some grab ass in the bedroom. Because that's what these grown men do. They play grab ass.
Those same officers talked to both your husband and your brother-in-law, Brian.
Yes.
And during each of those respective conversations or interviews, do you know where you were in the house when those were going on?
In my bedroom.
And when you were in your bedroom, could you hear anything that they were saying downstairs in the dining?
No.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going to fast forward this part. So look at her staring at her.
Do you recognize each of those documents, what the content is?
Yes.
And those are essentially, one is contains text messages that morning of the 29th between yourself and Ms. Reed, correct?
Yes.
And the other one is sort of a list of phone calls between yourself and Ms. Reed from that morning as well.
Yes.
Now, before I get into those, as far as after you had gone inside the house and Ms. Reed had got into Ms. Roberts' car, what if any other communication or what if any other communication did you have with Ms. Reed that morning?
I texted her asking for Carrie's phone number because I didn't have it. And I also had a phone conversation with Karen when she was in the ambulance.
And that text communication that I placed before you essentially has one bubble on it, and that's you asking for Carrie Roberts' number.
Correct.
And the phone conversation that you had with the defendant, when was that, and you know where the defendant was at the time that you spoke?
Yes, she was in an ambulance.
And if you could describe to the jury sort of what, generally speaking, what was the content of that conversation? What did you talk about?
She just was repeating, asking if he was dead. Is he dead? She brought up the kids, and then she also asked if I would visit her.
What?
And how did you respond?
I said yes.
Visit her.
Following that phone conversation, did you have any further communication in any form that you can recall with the defendant?
No.
May I approach?
Yes.
I want the seat to introduce in the midst. Each of those is next to exhibits.
Same objection, Mr. Jackson?
No objection. Doesn't matter, whichever.
Text first, please.
The defendant Ms. Reed for Ms. Roberts' information because you didn't have it, correct?
Correct.
At some point, did you receive that information from the defendant?
No.
And did you receive that information from any other source?
I must have, but I don't recall how.
And as far as asking for Ms. Roberts' information, why were you asking?
She was on the way to pick up John's parents and to bring him to the hospital. And I wanted to check in on them and then further updates from Carrie about John and how he was.
You wanted to know how your friend was doing, correct?
Yes.
Your friend.
No further questions, please.
All right. So that's the end of that. And I want to show you real quick. I know it's getting late, but this is good content. This is Lank's report, right? Look what it says here. She asked if it was possible. She calls at 9 o'clock. I was contacted at the police station by Jen McCabe. She asked if it was possible to come back to 34 Fairview and speak with her. Gallagher and I left immediately and arrived there within a few moments. She told us she recalled something she was not sure if we were aware of. She said that when Reed was driving around with her and Roberts looking for the victim, she said something to the effect of, "I hope I didn't hit him." McCabe told us she made these statements again at the scene when the victim was discovered. That's not what she just testified to. She thought that Reed may have made these statements in front of a police officer, but she was not sure. Now she's testifying that she made it in front of an EMT. And it wasn't that she told Lank that Karen had said, I hit him, not did I hit him. These are completely different things. Liars. I can't wait. That's all I got to say. I can't wait for Tuesday. It can't come soon enough. Couple turtle chats to read here. Jen sent $10 and says, let's not forget that the Canton cops got the solo cups from Deputy Chief Kelleher across the street. Why didn't he come out? Another first responder that never came out to help. It's a great question. Bradford sends 25 and says, so if they were cozied up in the back of a cruiser for a moment when Karen asked Jen to Google how long, that would absolutely be picked up on the audio of the dash cam. Good point. We can hear sounds happening outside the cruiser. That's a great point. That's a great point, Bradford. Excellent analysis there. Do we have any more cash apps? A couple here. Mary sends $5 and says, if only they called 911 at 12:30 after the fight. Seriously. Carl sends $10 and says, when will the app be out? Hopefully soon, Carl. Thank you. Aaron sends $10 and says, I was lost in fight. The phone was lost in the fight. Did JJ call or text to find it? I don't know. Because there's too many JJs. Thank you, Aaron. Diane sends $10 and says, let's fucking go. Okay. And Barbara sends $40 and says, Google non-extradition countries, Jen. Seriously. It's a better use of your time. All right, cool. We'll take any questions you guys have. Anything you guys want to talk about. It's freaking almost midnight. We still got 7,300 people watching on Rumble right now. On Twitter, it's fucking a lot of you people still. 23,000 at some point have tuned in on Twitter tonight. Not right now, 23,000, but I think that's cumulative. So any questions you guys have? Let me take any questions. Hold on. I'm going to read the Rumble questions since I've been neglecting them. And then I'll go to the Twitter questions if anyone has any. It's only 11 p.m. in Texas. I forget that our audience has grown to different areas. It's not all a bunch of mass holes now. It's been a great show tonight. Thank you. We didn't have time to get to the Colin stuff. So, join Turtle Club and you can go and catch that. Who won Ratchet Madness? Oh, I forgot to do the championship. We'll do it this week, I promise. Do you think the Alberts and McCabe's are all drinking together watching this live? So I know they watch it on. These people are so stupid. They think I give a shit about views. Like Krusty Panties in the messages with the fake victim said at one point that they watch it in Discord together. So I get less views, as if like, oh man, I'll get 7 less views. Oh, okay. I give up. Oh man. Now I'll only have like 50,000 and 93 instead of 50,100 views. Sorry. Okay. But yes, I'm sure they're watching this. They watch every single second of my show. They cannot get enough. My haters are my biggest fans, and they know that. Okay. Will the investigation reopen by FBI or DA? It's never closed with the FBI. Where's Higgins? Great question. Got to be coming soon. What caught first my attention with the case? The Google search. And by the way, the Boston Magazine profile story is coming out May tomorrow. We'll see. Now, keep in mind, the journalist Catherine Elton, who's writing it, I have no idea if it could be a hit piece on me. We'll see. I don't give a shit either way. I'm not afraid of hit pieces. But I don't know. She visited me in jail. She did her homework. She interviewed my mother. She interviewed a lot of people who were close to me. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. She's going to have to say negative. She's going to have to show the other side. She's going to have to. So don't take it like it's like a hit piece. She has to show the other side, period. But we'll see how it comes. So it's coming out tomorrow. What cop doesn't have a working ring camera? John did. I know. Do we get Proctor this week? We'll see. We'll see. Lisa says, I hope you run into the fake victim while I'm in mass too. I hope I never run into the fake victim ever again. Will you be streaming on YouTube for Jen on Tuesday? I will not be able. It ends in the afternoon. Sucks. But we'll do the show. I might do the show Wednesday night. The Celtics are on Tuesday night, man. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Who do we want? Indiana or New York? Doesn't matter. We're going to smoke either one. Doesn't matter. But I'd rather play the Knicks. Fuck it. Let's go. Where's Grant? Not allowed at the courthouse when Jess Machado's there because he assaulted her. Brian Albert goes to a cop's funeral in New York, but not John's. I know. It's odd. Okay. And let me check any Twitter questions people have. You think Lally's going to call all the remaining witnesses? No, there's like 50 left. He doesn't have time. I could stream with the glare, I suppose. But Tuesday is going to be a good stream. I feel like I want to stream with someone. I feel like I want to stream with someone. I want to go on LTL's stream. Really good stream last night. I watched it today. There's so much content to consume. I watched today Mike Crawford's show, The Young Jerks. He had Larry Foreman on last night and this other attorney, Betterow, who's new to the scene, New Yorker. and they have good Twitter accounts, both of them, good analysis, both of them. Nice to have attorneys on there. And I enjoyed the perspective of listening to them. I watched as much of that as I could. And then because I don't know, there's only so many hours in a day. So you listen to them for a bit. Then I listen to Melanie Little and I listen to her breakdown because I really am interested in things she has to say. And then, of course, I listen to the Glarer and LTL. And I try to get as many, and sorry if I forgot anyone. There's so many goddamn streams on this now. Oh, and I listen to Lawyer You Know. I listen to him now. He's pretty much in my Rolodex. And then Emily D. Baker, I'm new to her too. I listen to some of hers because Emily D. Baker is cool about this. She's extremely influential. And the trolls were like, couldn't wait for Emily D. Baker to get on this. She's a former DA, I think, in Los Angeles. And she has like 750,000 subs, I want to say. So huge audience. So like the trolls were hoping to God that she would get on here and be like, yeah, she would be like, what's her face from, Botox lady from Court TV, Julie Grant. And that they would get on there and, like be like, yeah, Karen Reed's guilty. But she's watching this from a perspective of a juror and she's like seeing all this shit happen. And she's like, what the fuck is going on here? And like the trolls are like, I'm unsubscribing to you. You're too fair. Because any honest and fair person looking at this is going to wait till Tuesday. Wait till Tuesday, man. Wait till Tuesday. Have you had communication with Karen since the trial started? No, I have not. The Glarer and I do have a great back and forth. I have to be honest about that. We do. We're a good team. I love Melanie's because she's so into it and like she just gets it, and she's an attorney, so she's got a little more street cred, but she is just so the way she hates Jen McCabe just like the rest of us. Like she gets it. She gets it. Oh, I don't even know where to start. What questions? So many. Do you think the McAlbert's charged? Yeah, I think that eventually they're going to get indicted by the feds. Been watching Emily since the Depp trial. Yeah. I'm new to LawTube. I'm new to true crime. I'm popping my true crime cherry with this one. It's fun, though. I get why people are into it. Although they're not all as exciting as the Karen Reed case. Usually they're guilty. Lawyer, misses all the subtleties because he listens at 2 times speed. He's too busy. Yeah. I mean, I like the stream, though. I like it. Do I think Karen, at this point, I don't think she's going to take the stands. There's no need to. She's winning. You don't need to do that when you're winning. Okay. It is like Rakita Law. I've been on Nick Rakita. I've been on his stream twice as a guest. I'm not sure if he's covering this. I feel like I would know if he was, but whatever. Okay. All right. Oh, and of course, how could I forget Sean of the Gulf? He's on fire this week. His show, I love Sean of the Gulf. Like he's so fired up about this. And I could listen to his rant about Brian Albert from a week ago, all day. Like it's so good. Just feed it into my veins. He's fired up. I love his positivity. But all right, guys. Anybody else? We're getting a little late. Of course, DUI guy. Yeah, he was in court the other day. I got dinner with him the other night. Actually, last Sunday before the show, we met up with him in Southie at the Seaport. It was lovely. But all right, guys. Andrea Burkhart is streaming it. There's so many, dude. There's so many names. I'm new to this, popping my cherry. But okay. Sean is going to blow. I know. All right, guys. So we're going to call it a night. Tuesday can't come here soon enough. Get your sleep. Tomorrow will be 1 day closer to the fucking time. All right, guys. We'll see you then. Thanks for all the donos tonight. Make sure last call. I don't want to miss anyone. Okay, we're good. Okay. Thanks for all the donos, the turtle chats tonight. And we will see you guys all on Tuesday morning at 9. Peace, Turtle Riders. Peace to your bum crease.